Weird.
We can't all make declarations of hatred at the same time. Hi, everybody.
There are dozens of us. Dozens!
你好中国，这条西呢，我爱更尊重中。石油账。
Alson, help me up onto his casket so I can dance on it.
I don't care.
But how did you ever find us?
Oh, easy. We just read the screenplay you left us. Glom, gold! Glom, gold! Glom, gold!
You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
I'll help you. Everything is sexist. Everything is racist. Everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Huh? Zappuccino.
All right, it is Thursday night in Tooney Town, and that can only mean one thing. It is time for the fastest rising pop culture reaction podcast on the internet today. It is time for Tooney Talk TV. Folks, my name is Marvin, and I am the Movie Monster. We have got a packed week. I started this week thinking, man, there wasn't a lot of news this week. And then the more I looked, the more I saw, which is funny because, like, I covered it all, like, originally for that Park Place. So, like, I'm like, wow, I forgot about a lot of stuff that happened this week. So, well, I can't do it alone, guys. I need the team here with me. So let's go. Titans, go! There you are. I was so into the music that I forgot to click the thing to bring you on.
So I don't have anything witty to say, but when I was coming home today, I had it on the oldie station because, you know, whatever. And
Right.
Twist Again came on. And then it made me wonder, has any one-hit wonder ever milked their one hit greater than Chubby Checker?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Because I don't think that man ever wrote a song that did not have the word twist in it.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Even when he teamed up with the Fat Boys.
Impressive
Chubby
observation.
Checker and the Fat Boys are doing the twist.
Oh, my goodness. Well, there's only one question to ask at this point in the show.
Where's the Italian?
I've been waiting for that all day.
That made me so happy.
I know.
I was like, oh, he clipped my part, like not thinking. And then I heard, I was like, oh, loves it.
Yes.
Thank you. The Italian's right here.
Now, hey, I'm one of you, man. So, you know, we represent. How you doing, Trish?
I'm all right. I was listening to your Chubby Checker talk, and I feel like he might be nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame right now.
Oh, gosh.
Potentially. Like, don't quote me on it. Don't get me started on that whole.
Wait, why would he be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Because everything is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I used to be okay with it because I'm like, well, music, you know, everybody takes it. And then they stopped just like kind of caring about actual rock bands, and now I'm like, listen, you know, we're foregoing actual rock bands for, you know, like Sheryl Crow or something.
Right.
I'm like, come on.
That's insane.
So yeah.
All right. Nolan Thunder is here, ladies and gentlemen. There he is.
Hi, friends.
How's it going, my friend?
It's good. Happy. It's one of the highlights of the week right here. So glad to be around with you guys.
Nolan, you saved my butt the other day because you texted me and you were like, hey, they're doing this annual pass holder thing for Epic Universe. And I would not have known in time had you not texted it to me. So thanks to you, I was able to sit in a virtual queue for 6 hours and get my Epic Universe tickets to go sometime this month. So
one question, worth it?
Yeah, I mean, I just had the window open while I did other things. So
glad to hear it's going to be worth it, my friend. It's going to be a divine experience.
Oh, I agree. And we're trying to get at that Park Place. We're trying to get into there for the grand opening as well. So hopefully we will be there because here's the thing that no one's really talked about yet. Nintendo Land's going to open again, which means there might be some Nintendo personnel there, which I would very much like to see.
Oh my gosh, I get to lick Miyamoto.
Please don't. If you're there as a representative of this organization, please do not lick Miyamoto-san. No, he was there. I remember seeing that he was there for a couple of the openings. So fingers crossed, maybe he'll be there again.
Every once in a while,
I might literally die on the spot if I see him there.
Every once in a while, no one lets something weird slip. Shirtless Snape, licking Miyamoto.
Yeah, for
Trish,
real.
I'm a weird person. You'll learn.
Martin Stone, I hope you don't have any desire to lick any Japanese video game creators.
Nope, can't think of any I'd be interested in. Let's avoid SARS Nolan 25, shall we?
Yeah, for real.
But I do have a Chubby Checker story.
Ooh.
How did this happen?
I was in Italy and I was watching TV, and the craziest show I had ever seen in my life, it was called Apocalypse Show, is on. It's a special or a variety show or something. And there'll be sketches, and then there's this old dude sitting on a throne saying apocalyptic sort of things, and then suddenly there's a bunch of dancers doing like American swing music from the 40s, and then they bring out Chubby Checker to interview him, and he's going on and on and on about the twist, and his daughter is translating because he doesn't speak Italian, but his daughter does, so he's speaking in English, she's translating for him. Then they bring out this old guy on the stool on the throne again, and it was so weird. Like years later, I was wondering, did I actually watch this?
Oh my goodness. I don't know.
Was I even in Italy?
I don't know how Chubby Checker became a point of conversation for everybody this week. Lauren Connor is here.
Hi, Lauren.
Hello. If Chubby Checker is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which Hall of Fame would you put him in?
He's not rock and roll, though.
He is nominated.
Yes.
I just looked it up.
I mean, technically, wouldn't he have been rock and
He's
roll?
technically rock and roll. Yeah.
Yes, he absolutely is.
Carpenters are rock and roll. He's rock and roll.
I'm baffled that you think that he's not rock and roll. What do you think Elvis is?
I don't know. Elvis is rock and roll. I don't know.
I think it's more the one-hit wonder thing that is
maybe
maybe a little.
Maybe it's not so much that he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Maybe it's the fact that he's in the Hall of Fame.
I wouldn't care if he was, but I just thought it was curious because there are others that could have been nominated.
What I want to know is Sam Cooke in there? Because Sam Cooke absolutely deserves to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yes, he is. He's been in there a while. Don't worry, Lauren.
All right, I'm happy about that.
Back when they got that stuff right and timely, yeah, he was put in there.
All right. So, guys, welcome to another week of Tooney Talk TV. This is a show made for all of you and financed by all of you. We get by on your generous super chats. We don't even try to monetize these shows anymore because they always get demonetized, and then we have to end up chopping things out, and it's a whole mess. So we rely on your generous super chats to get us through and to keep the lights on around here. So we do break for super chats in between news stories, and we break for super chats of $50 or more. So if you send in $50 or more, we stop whatever we're doing. We immediately go to whatever it is you've said, and we share your thoughts with the world, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, we got a lot of news today, but let's get to a few super chats that have come in. There's our friend, all booty bees and bacon with big B's. Member for 1 month. Just wanted to send in his new avatar, it looks like.
Love it.
Oh my gosh.
I love that
Liquid
guy.
Fox for $2 Canadian. It's Kevin's summer show name, A Wreck to Remember. I think he meant Rex. Because we were playing Mass Effect on the game stream the other night, and I was telling the people about how we used to call you Erdnot when we got to Rex. Yep. John Williams for $4.99 says you got some nerve showing up after Wednesday night. You disrespected Jenkins. He was the greatest soldier ever. Oh yeah, no, I went total renegade on Jenkins. Like, well, because I walked up to him and he's just like, "Hey, Commander, I just want to get out of here." I'm like, mother effer, like I am your superior officer. Who do you think you're talking to right now? And then he got gunned down in the first mission, and Caden was like, "Oh, Jenkins," and I was like, scrape him off the pavement, and let's keep going. So, yeah, they look. I tried to play it nice, and they all wanted me to be a jerk. So I gotta give people what they want. Regina Sharp for $5 checking in, saying tonight on Dynasty, the part of Tony Rogers will be played by
Glom Gold! Glom Gold! Glom Gold! Glom Gold!
Oh, fantastic. First Glom Gold of the evening.
I like that we're keeping this going.
Yeah, no, it's a running gag, and it never it's not old yet. I still love it.
I'm at the Dynasty talk.
Oh, the Dynasty stuff. Yes. Glom Gold is the joke that will never die. But all right, guys, let's hop into our first topic of conversation. This is one that actually just broke a little while ago. I think most of you probably have not seen it yet. We covered it on That Park Place as like a last minute breaking news kind of thing. Grace Randolph is a jerk. I'm sure you're all aware, but did anyone see what she did today?
What did Lady Andy Rooney do?
Let's get into it.
Andrea Rooney.
Outrage erupts after Grace Randolph hints that Matt Reeves may have health issues close to Chadwick Boseman's situation.
Hey, Marv, we don't have the screen share up on stream.
Oh, sorry. It's a stupid thing that they keep doing now. All right. And there we go. That's why.
Yep.
Oh, hold on. Nope. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so yes, Grace Randolph has hinted that Matt Reeves may have health issues that are close to a, quote, Chadwick Boseman situation. YouTube film pundit Grace Randolph is facing intense backlash online after invoking the late Chadwick Boseman while discussing circumstances surrounding filmmaker Matt Reeves, leading to accusations of recklessness and inappropriate behavior. Let's have a listen.
No, and if you knew what Matt Reeves was dealing with, you would.
She's whispering, mate.
Really?
That's as loud as I can make it. No, it's not.
Situation, but it's close.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let's start it again.
No, and if you knew what Matt Reeves was dealing with, you would just leave them alone, as I'm going to do. I mean, it's not a Chadwick Boseman situation, but it's close. And I hope it doesn't turn into that. You should leave Matt Reeves alone. Let's see.
I'm sorry, if Matt Reeves has not shared a health issue with the general public, what the hell is Grace Randolph doing?
I'm scooping. I'm a scooper.
I'm a scooper. But she got some intense backlash by one person in particular, guys. Yes, that's right. Our old friend, former X-Men 97 showrunner, Bo DeMeo sounded off on this.
Oh, boy!
And he said, disgusting. Does she have any idea what she could trigger him to do? Knowingly reporting on someone's personal mental health struggles, knowing it will only exacerbate and put that person at serious risk, is criminal and the epitome of those who can't do gab. Linking it to Chadwick Boseman is perfectly Karen in the park behavior. If this was a woman, she'd be crying sexism. It works both ways. Find another way to make a living, Grace, and have some respect. Creators aren't characters in your podcasting fanfic for likes. Hope you got your dopamine kick off his struggle. So yeah, Bo went nuts. Bo also said this is abhorrent behavior, and the delight in her voice as she reports it is just gross. This is why so many creators who do what you can't so openly dislike you.
How do you really feel, Bo?
You're man of the hour. Man of the hour right there, Bo DeMayo.
Bo
guys,
knows burns.
So let's take a look at what a couple of other people said about this. The Daily Kryptonian on X said, at Grace Randolph, this is beyond inappropriate of you. Do better. Matt Reeves has a freaking family that may not know. If you're telling the truth, then you exposing this is the lowest thing that you have done. And I didn't know you could go lower than you have before. Shaking my head, do better. We love you, Matt. And then the Bat in the Hat over here says, day in and day out, Grace Randolph gives us more reason to despise her and somehow manages to outdo herself every time. Grace Randolph, please do the entire community a favor and find a new career. So, guys, this is pretty reprehensible of a thing to do, right?
Yeah, this is that thing where I'm not going to talk about this by, like they introduce a topic by saying, I'm not going to talk about this.
Right.
I've always hated that.
I'm above the fray.
I was just gonna say it's like a faux high ground that they try to take.
Oh, 100%. That's exactly what she did. It's a matter of, this guy, she has some insider information about some. Now, Bo insinuated that it's some kind of mental health issue as opposed to it, when a Chadwick Boseman situation, you hear that, you assume it's cancer because obviously Chadwick Boseman had colon cancer and nobody knew about it. Like he kept it a secret from the public until he died.
I don't want to deal with you.
She's making up for the fact that she wasn't on camera last week. But yeah, guys, any thoughts on this? Any thoughts on reprehensible? What my question is, like, where is the line supposed to be for stuff like this?
I mean, she could have just simply said health issues and moved on. You throwing the Chadwick Boseman part on it adds an unnecessary sense of urgency, and just kind of left it at that. She did it for shock value. I don't know. I understand, as tacky as it is, to not to want to be the one who didn't say it when you knew it, but at the same time there really should be restraint when it comes to things like this, because you don't know whose family members don't know. So the race to be first is unfortunately created a lot of really bad decisions.
It very much has.
Lord, but if Grace Randolph knows, you got to think the family knows.
True. But that you don't know about extended family. What, like,
maybe some cousins,
aunts, and uncles finding out from Grace Randolph about something like this. Yeah.
And also, too, though, he is a celebrity. It's like that stuff gets out. It's, I think she handled it better than TMZ would have handled it, frankly.
Yeah.
I just think she used very poor verbiage. I don't know. Did she kind of step in a little bit, but I also don't think that she should be getting the vitriol. Everybody needs to cool it down with the white knighting. It's her job. She just should have just chosen how she went about it better.
Yeah, but that's not the thing. She didn't come out and say, hey, this is what's going on. She was like, I can't talk about it. But if I could talk about it, it would be big and huge news that I can't talk about. But I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to say it's like Chadwick Boseman, but close. Like, it's the way she did it that I despise. It's this, but if you knew what I knew, like, it's nonsense. I hate it.
I mean, the world had Morton Downey Jr. This isn't anything new.
God, I remember him.
Prior to her saying anything, was there anything in the wind about Matt Reeves at all?
I think they were probably talking about the Batman 2 and people wondering about the script and about, what's going on with that. Because, I mean, that movie has been...
Right. There was a rumor this week. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lauren.
Was there anything about Matt specifically, though, prior to her making this comment?
I didn't see what surrounded it, but I think people were probably getting on Matt Reeves about not moving on the script, not moving on this movie, where I'm pretty sure that's not.
I think Lauren's point is like, is she the one who put health in the air?
Oh yeah, there was nothing about his health.
You know what I mean? Like there was
I'm
no
pretty sure- yeah.
even. Ooh,
It's not even the health thing. It's Matt specifically. It's like there are all kinds of reasons why there may be script delays or why a production may be going slowly. There could be heads butting at the studio. There could be issues with negotiations with actors. There's all kinds of reasons. The public is not entitled to know. By her breaking this without anything having been out there previously, anything from Matt himself or anything that people could suss out, she put a target on his back. That's wrong. I heard what Kevin said about this being her job. I disagree. Your job is to talk about entertainment. Your job is not to talk about people's health circumstances. I draw the line there. I think there's a difference between entertainment news and like you said, it's just gross. You don't break that kind of thing if somebody's dealing with that. I don't care what kind of health issue it is. If it's physical, if it's mental, whatever it is, that's personal to that somebody. And especially if it's a mental health issue, if they're keeping it a secret and you let that thing out, that's not going to go well for that person. This was wrong. It was not a good thing to do.
Yeah, I agree with you, Lauren. I'm 100% with you on that one. All right. Any other last minute, anything about Grace? Or
I think Martin had something to say before.
Yeah, Martin, what were you going to say?
Oh, just there was no reason for this. It's not entertainment news. If somebody has a health problem or even worse, a mental health problem, there was no reason to dip into that. And it doesn't seem like she even spent that much time on it. So why even devote time in her stream to it?
Yeah, I agree.
I think this kind of goes without.
Go ahead, Nolan.
I just want to say, I think this goes without Kevin, but I do think there is a sense that, unfortunately, the drama going on with Grace here is taking away from probably a much bigger issue here, whereas what exactly is going on with Matt Reeves? I don't want to speculate on anything, but if it is a mental health thing, I hope he comes out stronger and okay out of it because, we're focusing on Grace, obviously, but hopefully Matt's going to be okay because that stuff is serious business.
Absolutely. And the last place that you want to be when you're already mentally compromised is working with Warner Brothers because they do things that are just so mind-numbingly stupid. I can't imagine having to work with them.
I was going to say, you have to wonder. Well, you got to assume. I am assuming that whoever her source is, it's someone from Warner Brothers because that place is a like just Swiss cheese in terms of the amount of holes in the wall that just let information flow that shouldn't be flowing.
Oh yeah. You used to feed me Warner Brothers information from sources that you had.
Yeah, we had I had a friend who was the personal trainer for the person who oversaw Harry Potter and DC. So she would give us tons of information during her workouts, just because she could. I
think Warner Brothers actually has NDAs, or do they just no, we trust you?
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? And then I think the timing of this is a little weird because last week it popped up and went away. There was a really short rumor that the Batman 2 was canceled because they wanted to focus on whoever the new Batman was. And that popped up right around when the rumor of that, whoever Batman is going to pop up at the end of Superman. So it's weird. It's weird that all this stuff is suddenly leaking out of nowhere when there's been absolutely nothing.
See, I thought the exact opposite. I thought that they are trying to make the Matt Reeves Batman the DC Universe Batman because I think that they were like, people already liked this one, so why don't we just make this one our Batman? And I think that's where a lot of because I don't think Matt Reeves wants that, and I don't think James Gunn wants that. And that was kind of what I surmised that might be happening behind the scenes. I have no proof of that. It's just what I think might have happened as possibly a reason why there's been no movement on either of these Batman movies. Because that's the thing. It's not just the Batman 2 that is stuck in development hell right now. It's also the Brave and the Bold. There's no, according to what we've heard from out of Warner Brothers, there's no script for either one of those movies.
Neither one?
Neither one has a script or is anywhere close to filming after all these years. So,
it's funny too. What's his name? Oh God, what is his name? Aaron Kionis
Johnson?
No, what's his name? It was Aaron Kionis from one of the comic feeds. He went on his Instagram and flat out said that they cast the Batman and named an actor. But I think back to when I saw that too, because we do dumb stuff on April 1st. So I don't know if that was I saw it on April 2nd and he hadn't pulled it down yet.
Yeah, that's the problem with April Fool's jokes in the era of social media, is that they're still up on April 2nd.
Mm-hmm. I think if you are a news outlet, you shouldn't be putting unfunny news stories up.
Oh yeah, no. I was very adamant with that Park Place that we were not doing any kind of April Fool's joke this year, and everybody was with me on that. I didn't have to fight anyone. It's not like people were like, "Yo, do it," and I was like, "No," but I would have bbeen very against it if anyone had asked me to do that.
Yeah, you want to tell me you saw Elvis with Tupac at a gas station? I'm all for it.
Yeah. Yeah, like something just wildly out there. Yeah. All right, let's move along to our next story. We'll get to Super Chats right after this one. The Minecraft movie has blown up the box office while Snow White falls to 4th place. Now, that means the modern audience just sent Hollywood a message. Now, box office results for Minecraft and Snow White could not be more different or more telling. A Minecraft movie didn't just win the weekend. It blew the box office wide open and sent Hollywood a clear message about IPs and the so-called modern audience. With a jaw-dropping $157 million domestic opening, Warner Brothers and Legendary now hold the record for the biggest video game movie debut of all time. Overtaking the Super Mario Brothers movie, the film also gave the entire domestic box office a desperately needed jolt, skyrocketing weekend totals by 154% compared to last week. Meanwhile, over in the Kingdom of the Crumbling Crowns, Disney's Snow White dropped like an enchanted apple, falling to 4th place behind The Chosen Last Supper Part 2, a Fathom event, faith-based release. It's a staggering defeat for what was once considered the cornerstone of Disney's fairy tale empire. So, weekend box office speaks for itself. Snow White pulled in 5.9 million. Minecraft movie pulled in 157 million. Because Gen Z crowned their own IP. The success of Minecraft proves that younger audiences will show up, but only for content that's made with them in mind and IPs that actually resonate with them. This wasn't a nostalgia trip or a lecture about modern values wrapped in fairy tale packaging. It was an unapologetic Gen Z power play. Just like Barbie captured the female audience with a franchise they grew up loving, Minecraft landed with boys and young men who have lived in a pixelated world for over a decade. 43% of the Minecraft audience was 18 to 24. 35% were 13 to 17. 57% of tickets were bought day of, and IMAX and 3D screens accounted for a full 1/3 of total ticket sales. This is a fan activation, is what it was. Now, obviously, you know what? We saw what happened with the reviews. The reviews were god awful for this movie. And we talked about it last week. We talked about how bad the reviews were and how the movie, it made $300 million worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's got to be on its way to $1 billion at this point, if it can keep it up. But I mean, and you saw, look, those theaters look like the darkest circle of hell. I definitely would not have wanted to be in those theaters, because we saw like the videos of like the kids like running through the aisles and like screaming and dancing and stuff, and I was like, oh, more power to you.
Marvin, better or worse than the Eras Tour screenings for Taylor Swift?
Oh. Good Lord, Nolan. What?
Nolan just wanted to bring up Taylor Swift.
Yeah, why?
That's my girl right there.
That's why, because it's his girl.
This movie, my cousin's yanking me to go see it this weekend, so God help my soul.
Well, I expect a full report, Nolan, on how this movie is, and what the audience was like. But this is what we were talking about last week. This is a IP that was made for this generation. It was made for a very specific target audience. Snow White was an IP that was beloved by other generations, and they tried to give it to this audience, and this audience said no. It happened right in front of our eyes.
I want to push back on that, because Snow White was just a very bad movie It was poorly conceived. I don't know who that movie's actually for, other than like someone's kid who probably got a job as an intern and convinced someone that this was a good idea. The movie is for no one. It speaks to no one. Like even when my daughter went, she was like, I don't understand what the point of this movie was. That was just a bad movie. This is a bad movie. Minecraft just looks like a movie made for kids and the kids who played it when they were kids who want to still act like kids. So I don't know. I don't think that's a big of an indictment. That's poor craftsmanship getting the result that it deserved.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but this is a thing that we do see, even if it wasn't for Snow White. We saw it with Star Wars. Star Wars was ours, and they decided to try to give it to a Gen Z female audience that doesn't want it. Marvel, same thing. They decided to repackage it for an audience that didn't want it. Barbie makes $1 billion because it's made for an audience that wanted it. Minecraft, same thing, makes $1 billion. But now, the problem that we're going to have now is they're going to make movies now of every video game that's ever existed.
And every meme.
They've been doing that for a while, though. Not every, but I mean, you know, the video game movie is not a new phenomenon.
Well, no, for a while, video game movies weren't touched because they were box office poison. Yeah. But now with Mario, Sonic, and Minecraft all doing amazing, I think now that's where Hollywood is. We're going to turn away from superheroes and we're going to start mining video games.
Gaming is bigger now.
Well, gaming is bigger now. It's because of the Switch. Everybody has one.
It's Uwe Boll's time.
I was going to say, Resident Evil keeps popping up to do terrible in the box office, so that's always the great reset.
Yeah, that's true.
Video games will be the new hot commodity the studios are going to chase, but I really don't think it's going to last as long as the superhero fad, because didn't we just have the Borderlands movie like a year or two ago, and that flopped hard? For every Minecraft, because the reason I think this movie did so well was, of course, your fantastic point, Marvin, about how it's made for the people who loved it, but it's also the biggest video game franchise of all time. So as long as you don't make it look as ugly as like the trailer for the first Sonic movie before they changed up the design and all that, people are going to at least give it a chance for the meme sake of it alone. The box office is proving that right now. But I feel like video games and movies are still quite a bit different mediums, much like books and movies are. We've seen the success of, say, Harry Potter, but for every Harry Potter, we had like 5 other young adult franchises that were going to kickstart this big elaborate movie franchise, and it fizzled out after a movie or two. I could see with video games being sort of thing. So unless you're like the juggernauts like Mario, Sonic, or Minecraft, I could see them being like, hey, let's go ahead and make a movie based off of, I don't know, Blood Rain or something like that, and it flops worse than Borderlands. Like, it's a bit of a mixed bag here. I don't think it's going to be a juggernaut.
They're going to make a movie. Right? Was that Blood Rain with the redhead? With the redhead vampire? That is one of the worst movies ever created.
I think that's an Uwe Boll movie.
Yes.
How long until we get the Stardew Valley movie? you laugh, but I could see it happening because it's popular enough.
Well, didn't I see something about a Hershey's movie?
Yes.
My wife wanted to know if that's the story of the man who created Hershey's.
That would be one thing.
Bars.
I feel like it's going to be like, I don't know, anthropomorphic chocolate bars and like little Hershey Kisses arms walking around.
Yep, that is exactly what it's going to be.
Right?
There's going to be the peanut butter cup. The M&Ms will be in it,
and then there'll be a float in the Thanksgiving Day parade because that screams at.
Yeah, you got to think also, 40 years ago, somebody's like, a Clue movie, like the board game? That's ridiculous.
And it was so good.
It was so good.
If they ever were to make
that
a
for the
video
genre
game,
guys.
Wait, what is that one?
You did, or you
We
want
need
to?
do that for the genre guys. We haven't done that one. That's one we need to put on the list.
Oh, that's one you definitely have to do, man. So good. But I mean,
For every Clue, you get a battleship.
Yeah, but that's true. You suck my battleship.
If there was ever a video game movie I want to see them do outside of, the obvious fanboy hype ones, do any of you guys remember when College Humor years ago did the Sims movie trailer where they made it into a horror movie? That was genius, and I would be the first one in line for that.
Only if they cast Trish as the villain. Because Trish destroys the lives of Sims for a hobby.
I do. I make it into a soap opera. It's fun. Oh, the drama's rife in my sim games.
By the way, they're pointing out in the chat about Lauren and Highlander. Lauren, have you watched Highlander yet?
Not yet. I'm going to be slammed for the next, honestly, probably for the next 3 weeks. So I don't know if I'm going to have time to slot it in there. If I do find a window, I will try and watch the first one, but I haven't done it yet.
We will make it happen, my friend. We will make it happen.
You know, I'm sorry not to.
Go ahead.
If you were gonna do video game movies,
right,
you should go old school Nintendo testosterone. Like redo Double Dragon the right way this time, not the way we did it last time.
And then do Battletoads, and then do a crossover.
Contra. Give me Contra.
Okay. Yeah, you gotta do Contra. Wizards and Warriors.
Joust.
I'm shocked there's never been a Punch-Out movie.
Well, that was Rocky.
That's true.
I was about to say, Lauren, I don't think they could do a Contra movie because you would just have Stallone, Schwarzenegger, and then the Xenomorph. They'd be fighting that.
I don't care. I want it. If you give me that, we haven't had a movie like that in so long, and it would be so fun. The closest thing we ever got was The Expendables, and I would love to see a return to that kind of movie making where you just do a low budget 80s Americans in South America trashing everything kind of a movie. Give me that.
I'm for it.
Do you ever see Stallone talking about when he found out that Expendables won the weekend over Eat, Love, Pray? What? It came out the same weekend, and so they were both vying for number one, and he's just waiting and waiting and waiting, and he gets the phone call on Sunday morning, and he finds that the projections have them winning the weekend, and he just jumps up and yells, "We beat the women!" And then he goes, "I didn't mean for that to come out the way it sounded."
With the benefit of hindsight, that might not have been the best thing I could have said right there. But you know what I mean. Yo, Adrian.
So let's say they do a Contra movie. It's Ryan Gosling, obviously. And who else?
Evans?
Tom Hardy.
Ryan Gosling?
Yeah.
For Contra?
Oh, I'm not saying it's a good decision. I'm just saying
they put the Rock in it.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Ew. There we go. Gosling and Gyllenhaal.
they would somehow put the Rock in it to ruin it. Someone said do a modern day. John C in the chat said do a modern day Oregon Trail, and I could see them doing that. But if you were to make the Oregon Trail, it would have to be made by like Seth MacFarlane. Like it has to be a comedy.
Yes.
Or it could be like The Revenant.
It's true.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right.
You've been violated by a bear.
I'm trying to think of other like games that would be ridiculous for them to make movies up, but they probably like. I legitimately think a Stardew Valley movie is going to happen, and I'm sure it has been discussed at some point.
I don't know how I feel about that because it's like you get an idea in your head, and it's like, are they ever going to be able to like casting? You know what I mean? It's like everyone's got their favorites, and it's like, is casting ever going to be able to like live up to whatever? I don't know about that. I don't know how I feel about that one.
You're saying that you're afraid that your escape world, that was so magical, will get turned into a bunch of Hollywood schlock with a bunch of memes? They would never do that. Definitely not this past weekend. Never.
I'm saying I'm very protective of my emo boyfriend Sebastian in that game. So if they ever did wrong by him, I'd be like, I'm done with this movie. That's what I'm saying.
I'm actually really happy that Kevin brought up Wizards and Warriors because I thought I was the only guy who remembered that game. I played the crap out of that game.
I love that game. I went to a toy show this weekend, and someone had a sealed copy of Wizards and Warriors 2, which I never played. I was very tempted, but I don't think my Nintendo works, so I didn't do it.
Honestly, I didn't think Iron Sword was as good as the first one. The first one was fantastic, and the Game Boy version was pretty good, too.
I remember falling off that damn tree, going all the way back to the bottom.
All right. We got some super chats to get to, guys. They have been filling in as we go along here. So John Williams for 199 says, sorry, I can't understand her. I don't speak serpent. Yes. Cynthia Revo. Grace Randolph is speaking parcel tongue the entire time. That's why only Trish and I can understand her.
Scuba.
Oh, Johnny Cage for $2 says Grace Randolph, the Dave Meltzer of Hollywood. You know what? That's a pretty apt description, actually. Liquid Fox for $2 Canadian says her voice is equivalent to an Orange Cassidy match. That is, I would say her reporting is also the equivalent of such. Tyler Galasinski, member for 7 months, says after watching DuckTales 1.0, I was impressed. Whether it was 1.0 or 2.0, Glomgold was the best villain, even though I liked his 1.0 version. So you like the original Glomgold better than the funny Glomgold? He was pretty evil in that original DuckTales. Like he was, yeah. He wasn't funny in it though, I don't think. Tyler Galasinski for $4.99 also says just discovered another Doctor Who connection. Magic and Dispel was voiced by Catherine Tate, aka Donna. Yep, that was a big thing in the first season when they announced it, because it was Catherine Tate and David Tennant together again. So, okay. The Black Bear for $5 says I've come to make an announcement. Kevin Apollo is a bear, mother effer. It's like, these are terrible accusations that I will not have on this show.
What do you mean by bears?
Well, exactly. There's definitely two different ways you could take that. You know, like you'd be there during this week.
Yeah, because you said that damn picture.
Oh yeah, when you were in a house with Obama mugs during Bear Week. The single greatest thing ever. Oh my gosh. Chef Eddie, member for 4 months, says he was a 2-hit wonder. Twist and Let's Twist Again. So
I think you're forgetting Hooka Tooka and La Paloma Twist and the Slow Twist. I mean, come on.
Forever Runner for $4.99 has been watching OG Daredevil. Sorry, Lauren, but Deborah Ann Woll clears Sydney Sweeney all day, every day, says Triple H.
Oh, Lauren.
I did say in the comments, I got nothing against Deborah Ann Woll.
Yeah, well, I mean, not till Daredevil season 3 when she becomes insufferable. I forgot just how bad she was in Daredevil season 3 when, like, toward the end of the season, they take a break from the plot to give you her entire backstory in a flashback episode that nobody asked for. Nobody was curious about your past, Karen. Is anyone still watching Daredevil? Am I the only one still watching it?
I gave up.
I keep meaning to catch up.
It is just south of okay. Like it took 6 or 7 episodes for him to actually put the Daredevil suit on. The first 6 episodes were a slog, a boring slog. He has a random adventure with Ms. Marvel's father in the 5th episode. Yes, it's just a weird show. Like, I don't know. It's nothing like the original. The last episode was okay. There was a scene that I thought was going to be awesome because, I don't know, spoiler alert, Bullseye escapes from jail.
Shocking.
I know. And I thought it was going to be cool. I'm like, oh, we're gonna get to watch Bullseye like fight his way out of jail. Thank God, some action in this show finally. And all he does, like he like gets out of the chair that he's strapped to. He kills 2 guards, and then he's just out of jail. I was like, damn it. Like, why couldn't we have gotten like Bullseye fighting his way through the prison? But, you know. Tyler Galasinski for $4.99 says, yes, stop lecturing and stop displeasing half the country. This is the reason. This is the lesson. Also, having Jason Momoa doesn't hurt either. Yeah, no, I'm sure the moms enjoyed Jason Momoa being in this movie. John Williams for $9.99 says, a teacher I had had a minor actor that worked with Warner, wrote a script for a Jon Stewart Green Lantern movie. This was apparently around the time Dark Knight came out, he got a reply of, "Who the hell do you think you are?" Huh. I don't know who the hell he thought he was.
My brain read DK as Donkey Kong.
Me too at first. Me too at first, but then I pieced it together.
I really did. I was like, "Oh, Donkey Kong movie? Okay."
I mean, I would hate a Donkey Kong movie now because it'd be Seth Rogen. So I'm playing right now that re-release of that Wii U Donkey Kong Country.
Knuckle Freeze.
It is really fun. It is really fun.
Everything I've ever heard about that game says it's one of the best platformers ever made. So that's good to hear.
Wait, it's called Jungle Freeze? I didn't think it was called that.
Tropical Freeze.
Tropical Freeze. Okay.
Yes. It kind of sounds like a Minute Maid brand, but no, it's a video game.
That's the one they just released on Switch, right?
Yes, it has the funky new mode.
Yeah. And that's what I've been playing on. It's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. It's challenging in the right ways and frustrating in some, and the controls are good. I like it a lot. It brought back the horror of the minecart levels. Where did your childhood anxiety come from? Minecart Carnage, Donkey Kong World 2, level 2.
Marvin, what's going to happen when you go to Epic and you ride the minecart ride? Are you going to be?
I'm gonna have like a Vietnam style flashback on it, probably.
Cranky was there, man. Cranky.
Seen some things, man, and some stuff. All right. We are going to get to the rest of your super chats in a little bit. We got to get to our lead story of the day, and that is Black Power Ranger controversy ignites Hollywood media spin, but the original actor isn't having it. So this story just incensed me. The mainstream media has once again latched onto a retro TV moment and turned it into something it was never meant to be. This time, the target is the 90s kids action show Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, specifically the casting decisions made over 30 years ago. According to headlines making the rounds this week, the show's head writer, Tony Oliver, not to be confused with Tommy Oliver, confessed that it was a mistake to cast a black actor as the Black Ranger and an Asian actress as the Yellow Ranger. Oliver's comments come from the new investigation discovery series Hollywood Demons, where he claims none of us were thinking stereotypes and that he didn't realize the potential for controversy until an assistant pointed it out much later. It was such a mistake, he added, sparking an avalanche of editorial takes, social media chatter, and surface-level hot takes. What most of these outlets conveniently left out, however, is the perspective of the actual actor at the center of this so-called controversy, that being Walter Emmanuel Jones, the original Black Ranger, Zach Taylor himself. Posting to Instagram, Jones addressed the renewed media focus head on. He said, "Incredible how many media outlets picked this up. However, while some choose to seek out the negative, I've always believed in focusing on the positive. I understand the impulse to address what might be seen as cultural insensitivity, but calling it a mistake would dismiss the impact it had on countless people around the world who found inspiration and representation in TV's first black superhero, morphing into none other than the Black Power Ranger. It wasn't a mistake. It was a milestone. It was an honor." There you go, guys. The man. Well, that's the Japanese actor who played him in the Sentai. But there's also the matter of Trini Kwan, the Yellow Power Ranger on the show, originally played by Vietnamese actress Thuy Trang, but originally was cast as this girl, Audrey Dubois, who was not Asian. Trini was originally cast for the pilot, but then left over a contract dispute, and the role was recast with Thuy Trang, a Vietnamese American actress who was later edited into the existing footage. In short, the casting of an Asian actress wasn't planned. It happened as a result of behind-the-scene changes last minute. But Trang embodied the peaceful conscience of the group, which is what the team was seeking, not a demographic checkbox. So, guys, of course, Thuy Trang also tragically passed away shortly after leaving the show in a car accident in Los Angeles. But, man, Kevin, I know you were probably just as pissed as me when you saw Hollywood running with this stupid thing.
This is, oh, God. What is the word for it? I'm brain farting on the word that I want to use. Actually, hold on. I can go get the word, because it just so happens that William Shatner has been screaming about this kind of thing for the last 2 days.
Presentism.
Yes, thank you. This was not a problem in the early 90s. It's funny. So when I was a freshman in college, I had a mass communication class, and the professor was a first generation American. His family immigrated from India. So this is right after the entirety of the United States is disappointed that Colin Powell decided he was not going to run for president. So the teacher, he kicks us off by talking about Colin Powell, telling everybody he's not going to, and we all kind of know who it's probably going to come down to. And he goes, what the year 2000 is going to bring? It's going to bring the first post-racial year. So, and then I saw someone on Twitter actually posted it was Uncle Phil, Carl Winslow, Heathcliff Huxtable,
Bill Cosby,
Heathcliff Huxtable, and Michael Jordan. And it's like, because of these four men, racism stopped existing by the time you got to the end of the 90s. So, and being a 90s kid, I go, yeah, that kind of wasn't a thing by the time you hit the end of the 90s. Like, people were kind of over it. So, if anything, all you really got was a couple of comedians making fun of the fact that it just happened to be that the Black Ranger happened to be black, that the Yellow Ranger happened to be Asian, that the Pink Ranger was going to happen to be a girl, that the Red Ranger happened to be Native American. Like no one cared. No one cared. It was a funny, snickery little thing. And now we're in this, post whatever you want to call it, weird woke dystopian era in Hollywood where we're apologizing for things that no one asked you to apologize for. We're making a big deal out of things that don't have anything to do with anything. And you're trying to strip away context from what the actual stories and the achievements were. I'm actually really proud of what's his name, Walter Jones, for saying what he said, because this kind of crap does need to be pushed back on. You're going to totally diminish what he meant to a lot of kids, not just black kids, but to a lot of kids in general. Zach, what everybody loves Zach. Everybody loves Zach. So the
universal love of Zach Taylor and hip hop keto.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. While you were duking out over who was better, Tommy or Jason, we all agreed Zach was the best. Right? Everybody loved Zach. So this is just silly. The only thing I will push back on is I'm trying to remember when Mantis debuted, and if Mantis beats Zach to the punch
as the first black superhero on TV. I can't remember any other black superhero on TV when we were kids. Here's my other thing. Why is Black Panther okay, but the Black Ranger was not okay?
Well, he's African, so you kind of can't complain about that.
Yeah,
if he was a guy from Wisconsin, it's
still.
I want to say Mantis was 94, by the way.
You're correct. August 26, 1994.
And Power Rangers was 93?
I'll get that. I'll get you that answer.
But Mantis one-ups you because you get a twofer because he's also a paraplegic.
Yes,
you are correct, Marvin. It is August 28th, 1993, so it was almost a year after.
Oh, okay.
But no, and Zach was also representative of 9-fingered individuals.
That's true. Amputee.
Yep.
Wait, he was missing a finger?
Yep. And Nolan.
Him and Scotty, yeah.
Nolan, when you see it, you don't see it at first. You go through your entire childhood not seeing it. You go through most of your adulthood not seeing it. And then one person says to you, hey, the Black Ranger has 9 fingers. And then you watch an episode and you see it. And you always see it from that moment forward.
I have two things I want to say because I have nothing to contribute to this conversation. I never watched the Power Rangers. I know nothing about it. But the first question is a curiosity about this statement that you just made. People typically have 8 fingers and 2 thumbs. So does he have an extra finger, or are you misrepresenting the number of fingers because he has?
He has 2 thumbs and 7 fingers.
Okay, that clears up the first thing. Also, the second thing is, if there's a brotherhood of 9-fingered people who are part of some sinister organization, I'm all about this. I want to hear about the 9-fingered brotherhood.
Frodo of the 9 fingers.
Hey, Regina Sharp checking in with a $50 super chat. Everyone knows Swerve Strickland was the first black superhero. That's 3 uses. Man, I'm getting mileage out of that one. And The Mantis was an awesome show. Thank you, Regina Sharp. Very much appreciative.
Just in case it comes up, Blackjack Savage does not count. He was a pirate ghost.
I don't
That's
think
pretty awesome pirate ghost. Played by at least 2 different people.
Yes.
Regina Sharp, we can only thank you in one way.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, everybody hands go up, and they stay there, and they stay there.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. So yeah, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, nobody cared about what race somebody was on that show. It was never even a thought. Nobody was talking about how great. Nobody was even talking about it as far in terms of like, oh, look at the great representation. Nobody was talking about that because nobody cared.
People who talked about it were the adults that were looking way too into things and making mountains out of molehills. It's like when, you go back retroactively to a kid show and you make a bunch of adult jokes like, oh, who's Bert and Ernie are sleeping with each other, lol, edgy teenager joke, and get a hearty laugh. But when you actually start making this small stuff into a big issue, that's where it becomes the problem. Power Rangers might have lived in a silly bubble, but it was a bubble where, hey, this stuff didn't matter. And I'd like to see society go back to that too.
Okay, so LK is saying we forgot Misfits of Science and Kevin Michael Hall. Yeah, probably.
I do want to go back to something though. The Red Ranger is an Indian. Is it?
I was literally just about to say this. Austin St. John and Jason David Frank are both Native Americans and both played the Red Ranger at some point, and no one ever had a problem with that. I don't think anyone ever even knew, but just saying.
Yeah, Austin is Native American, Japanese, Italian. He's Irish. He's like everything.
Yeah, he's
the actual melting pot.
Yes,
he's like Lois and Clark Superman.
Yes, he's so funny because like he was like an EMT. I think like after Power Rangers ended, like people are. I saw somebody on one of the tweets respond when we tweeted out this article today, and they were like, oh yeah, well the Jason, Trini, and Zach were just greedy, and they left the show because they were greedy. I'm like, no, they were being taken advantage of. They were being taken advantage of by a rich old man who was making millions off of them. Amy Jo Johnson said in one interview, they were the biggest celebrities on the planet at one point, and they were making $1,000 a week. So finally, 3 of them stood up and said, "Hey, if we're going to resign, we want more money." And he was like, "I can replace all of you. You go now." And
so we did replace all of you.
Yep. Chaim Saban is an evil genius because he's got to be a billionaire at this point, right?
It's not documented officially. This is across many mattresses.
No, Chaim Saban is worth $3.1 billion.
That you know of.
So what you're saying is that Saban theoretically could buy Star Wars. Are we ready for this timeline?
Power Rangers to Disney and then bought it back from them at a profit.
Yeah. Yep. And then sold it to Hasbro, and I'm not entirely unconvinced he's not going to buy it back at a profit. Or it's
how old is he going to be at that point? Dude's going to be a zombie and still breaking these deals.
Chaim Saban came up with the perfect scam. He was like, I can make a show for nothing. The sets will be made of cardboard. We will have a park. We will have a juice bar. We will have a school, maybe a garage, and the command center that's made of cardboard, and nothing else. And then half of the show will be Japanese footage that already exists. We will hire non-union actors that we could pay nothing to, and this will be the biggest show on the planet. And it worked. And it continued to work.
It's the TV equivalent of the
years.
Clippers.
Yeah. Well, and then he kept it going because then they did Big Bad. They did Masked Rider next, which was the same thing. It took the Kamen Rider footage. Then they did Big Bad Beetleborgs, Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. Like they took all of these and did the same thing. And then suddenly something weird happened because a show was produced called Mystic Knights of Tirnanog, which so many people have forgotten exists because it only lasted for a season. They shot it on location in Ireland. And it was all like new footage. I can only assume this was made without his knowledge. He got a bill one day and was like, "What is happening?" And that
then it was a debit to my account. Who authorized the spending of money?
Spend money. Except he didn't lose any money. He was a billionaire.
What about? I think you left out VR Troopers from that one.
VR Troopers, yeah. VR Troopers was also one of them. Oh, man. VR Troopers, VR Troopers was supposed to be Jason David Frank's spinoff.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Really?
How are they going to get
around? Oh, you never knew about that? Hold on.
No.
Yeah, I got to find the Cybertron trailer.
Go Cybertron.
Yeah.
You can only blow my mind so many times during this stream, dude. I'm still not over Zack right now.
You're not over the finger?
No. I keep looking at all the footage and he's doing like that thing. I always thought he was doing like a rock on type thing.
Buck. Well, see, here's the thing. VR Troopers was two different Sentai shows, or not Sentai, but Sentai-like shows. That's why you never saw Ryan Steele fight alongside Caitlin and JB, because it was two different shows.
Carly from General Hospital.
All right, so here is the sizzle reel they put together for Cybertron.
Target spotted. Vector 6-9.
That's so cool.
Remember, we want him alive. Headed for the bridge. Don't worry. He's not going anywhere. Watch this. Mission accomplished. Return to base.
Not 1 second of that was original footage.
Including
the Ron Wasserman in the background here.
It all began the day after Christmas, 10 years ago. They say my father was attacked by the war drones and disappeared without a trace. All I know is that one day he left, I never saw him again.
Oh my God.
I think about him all the time. And I think a lot about the last time I saw him.
All right, you get the picture.
So here's a question: was this just supposed to be a show where it was going to be Jason David Frank playing this, or was he actually supposed to be Tommy in this?
It should have been Tommy, but it wasn't. It was Jason David Frank just playing this in a new show.
The same actor.
But then they still use this.
Now, check on my wardrobe.
Warlords, soon we will rule the whole planet.
So Grimlord was still a part of it. This guy was still a part of it. And then, yeah. And then we got
The power will be yours.
Wow. This song is literally just Go Green Ranger, by the way.
It is 100% Go Green Ranger.
Ron, listen. Discounts. I just need you to change one word. Just one word.
I never watched this, but I can tell you if I had seen this when I was a kid, I would have been all over it. I would have loved this.
Yeah.
Same.
VR Troopers was a cool show. But yeah, no, so the lyrics are literally Cybertron. And instead of and then it's Grim Lord's gonna get you tonight. Instead of Rita's gold. Instead of gold.
I would love to just hear him singing the song. It's like, go destroy the Power the VR Trooper.
So Jason David Frank actually did a couple pro wrestling matches for a few indie feds, and I didn't see them, but I was like, please tell me they sent him out to Go Green Ranger Go, because if you didn't, you missed out on something. So, all right, let's see, moving along. Black Power Ranger controversy. Oh, you know what? Let's go to something.
Hey, so when Jason comes back and plays the Gold Ranger, is that cultural appropriation because he's black? But not
maybe.
Black.
Maybe. I don't know. Questions for another time. Original 1977 cut of Star Wars will be publicly screened for the first time in decades at the British Film Festival. Lauren, did you see this?
Yeah, I did.
Yes. So, the British Film Institute has announced that it will publicly screen the original 1977 cut of Star Wars, not A New Hope, not the 1997 special edition, but the raw, unaltered classic that lit the spark for one of the most influential sagas in cinematic history. The event will headline the BFI's Film on Film Festival, a celebration of celluloid cinema and physical film stock, scheduled to begin on June 12th, 2025. The screening will showcase one of the few surviving dye transfer IB Technicolor prints produced for the original UK series of Star Wars in December of 1977. The print has been stored for decades in the BFI's National Film Archive, and this marks the first time in many years that the general public will have a chance to experience the film as it originally played in theaters. Now, they released this with one of the special editions, but it was in such poor condition that you couldn't even really watch it, right?
Yeah, it's people were unhappy with that release, and you can kind of understand why. It didn't have any frills on the disc. There were no behind the scenes stuff with it. It was a poor transfer. I don't really care about the original print, and I think that kind of makes me a little bit weird in the Star Wars fandom. I understand a lot of people really hate the special editions, but I do hold the position that they were necessary. And in fact, if I were in charge, I would actually like to see them do it again, because I think that now that we have better computer technology than we did in '97, Mos Eisley could still use a pretty hefty upgrade. And I think that they could still continue to be improved. Now, I think that there were judgments that they made that were wrong. Making the Ewoks blink is one of the worst decisions I think anybody has ever made.
George Lucas. I pictured George Lucas laying awake in bed at night, staring at the ceiling. They don't blink. They don't blink.
And weirdly, things like in the last Blu-ray release, when they upscaled the size of Jabba the Hutt's palace door, it's like they did weird stuff. It's like, why are you focusing on that? But I think that they need to cut out the stuff where they made Greedo shoot first. I think that I think most people don't like the Jabba scene. I actually do like the Jabba scene, but I would like an even better Jabba model. I understand that it's just repeating the information that Greedo imparts in that scene, but I'm one of the guys that likes Han stepping on his tail because I think that's totally in character for him. So I'm the wrong guy to talk to when you're talking about the original release. I'm not one of those purists. So,
but now I'm with you. I'm with you on this. However, I also believe that the original should be available to people that want it.
I agree with that, but I think it gets a little tricky when you're talking about originals. Do you want originals exactly as they were released in the theaters, which is what this one is, or do you want the originals that are unaltered except cleaning up some of the special effects, the color correction, and all of that kind of stuff? Because believe me, that original print, it's not going to look very good. I'm pretty sure that you're going to want something that's going to be cleaned up and color corrected and probably have improved sound and all of that kind of stuff.
Probably, yeah. Kev, what's your opinion on this?
I'm with Lauren, honestly. I one of the things that I lament about it not belonging to Lucas is that I'm pretty sure he would have given us another update and bridged the gap, a little bit closer to the prequels and the original trilogy. And they seem to be working. He seemed to be finding a space where he could have found an even compromise for Han and Greedo. You know, the
McClunky.
You know, I feel like they could have fixed that, and we'd all be happier with it.
But you got to keep McClunky.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the idea of being able to see, you know, the original unaltered film is fun, but I for one do not mind the special editions. I enjoyed them, other than, you know, some weird questionable decisions. But you know, I also bought them every time they were released because I wanted to see what changes got made. I was just that person. So, you know,
I don't mind the special editions either. I
actually wish more movies would do it. I'm sorry.
My issues with the special edition are, again, the Han shot first thing. It's stupid. Vader screaming no in Return of the Jedi. I get it. It bridges the gap between the two moments, but it's a dumb moment. And James Earl Jones, it's the one thing James Earl Jones' delivery was just not there for. And I don't like I don't mind putting Hayden Christensen at the end of Return of the Jedi. I don't give a crap about that. I like the original Jabba song better.
I put Nub Nub back.
And Yub Nub. Yeah, put Yub Nub back.
The thing that really tells the tale for me, though, is the Battle of Yavin. It's like, as much as I love practical effects, and I do love practical effects,
yeah,
I don't think that you can go back to the original Death Star battle. You want to have a dynamic camera.
Yeah.
And even now, those X-Wing models that they were using in the special edition look pretty good. But imagine what they would look like today. Imagine if we could actually dovetail the Battle of Scarif with the Battle of Yavin and have it look like they were shot at the same time in the same era.
Yeah.
I would love that.
What I didn't like was being told what you thought you saw, you never saw. That bugged me. And I'm kind of on Spielberg's side on this. Like, Spielberg re-released E.T. with the guns replaced by flashlights because he was convinced at the time that wasn't the right tone, and then he realized that was a mistake because the movie he released, that's a historical document. It exists. You can't pretend that it was something else, and it was the one that had the cultural impact. So Spielberg has come back around and said that was a mistake to change that part of the movie. Now, I do get that these are art is not finished, it's abandoned. And George Lucas has a problem abandoning things. So I get that.
I agree with all of that. And I do think it's a mistake to keep the original versions in the vault. But I think that, honestly, even episode 1 could use a pass on some of the effects. The first part of the movie looks great, but the Battle of Naboo looks terrible. And that's an area where I think, Disney, you want to make people happy? This is what you do. You actually go to work and you do another special edition with the improvements that we're talking about. And then you release that in a double disc set with the original version, just with the color corrected, with the improved THX sound, and all of that stuff. Give people what they want. Let them see all the various versions, or even if you wanted to go really fancy, construct your own version where you don't have A New Hope in the opening crawl, but maybe you do have some of the improved effects for the Death Star battle. We have the technology. Just give the people what they want.
They'll do a deep fake and put Daisy Ridley as one of the handmaids.
You die, sir.
Yeah, I know. I'm on the first on the wall, aren't I?
Have you guys ever seen this? Have you seen the South Park episode where they did the thing about the special editions with the free hat? But when they were getting chased by Steven Spielberg and George Lucas's security, they all had walkie-talkies instead of guns. Oh, I thought that was really funny. All right. Okay, well, for our next little bit of news, I just want to remind everyone we don't talk politics. We are not talking about politics in this issue for as much as we can. But it is impossible to not mention certain players that are involved here. And that is
President Pooh Bear.
Yes, President Pooh Bear has threatened to he has threatened to ban Hollywood movies from China in response to the Trump tariffs, despite years of studio pandering. Now, this is the ultimate thing, because the studios scraped and bowed and crawled and groveled before this man for years.
你好，中国，这是赵希娜。
And debased themselves to such a level, and now they're just turning around. They're like, "Yeah, we don't care."
What I like about this is that this very much may accelerate the return to traditional Hollywood movie making, because if the market is closed, you've got to appeal now to those remaining people who are willing to give you a chance. So I say, bring it on. Close the Chinese market. See how it works out for you.
You know, when I heard about this, my first response was the Willy Wonka. No, stop, don't. Today, a reporter asked the president about it. She asked Trump, and she was like, "Well, what do you think about the fact that China is gonna, limit the number of American Hollywood movies that can be shown?" And he goes, "I've heard of worse things." It was just a fantastic response to that.
You remember that Transformers movie where the first 2 acts was like slow pans of the American flag and girls bent over the hoods of cars, and then the third act was how efficient the Chinese government is?
Yes.
Or wait, in Avengers: Age of Ultron, when they shoehorned this Chinese scientist lady in there, like for no reason. Oh gosh.
Fake
but
news.
now
that was actually South Korea.
Oh, was it? I thought that she was a big star in China, and that was why they put her in.
I don't think so. At least I'm pretty sure that we're talking about South Korea.
Somebody got put in that movie. Somebody got put in that movie because they were a big deal in China. I don't know.
Cite your sources, sir. You're the editor.
Mm-hmm. Well, how about we're gonna remake the Karate Kid, but it's all gonna be set in China and be about how wonderful China is. And then we're gonna have 13.
And not even karate. That was all kung fu.
I could not believe. Why not just call it the Kung Fu Kid? Like, people would have gotten it. You didn't have to call it the Karate Kid. I mean, it is just the Karate Kid.
Because Kung Fu Kid, people would assume that's a remake of Shanghai Nights and Shanghai Noon.
Maybe.
Kung Fu Kid would be awesome, though.
You know what? I maintain that Karate Kid remake was not a bad movie.
No, it's not. I
with the girl?
I love that. I really enjoyed that movie.
I mean, it's literally just the story of the Karate Kid, like from top to bottom, just set in China and dealing with kung fu instead. I think there's a lot of real. I thought the put your jacket on, take off your jacket, pick it up. I thought that was a really good stand-in for wax on, wax off, and the scene was fantastic, and I really liked it. That was the movie where I was like, wow, Will Smith's son is actually a pretty good actor. I can't wait to see what else he's gonna do. And
I also like the scene where Mickey made Rocky chase the chicken around the alley. That was good too.
Yeah.
Marv, she is a South Korean actress.
All right, well, I was wrong. I could have sworn that was China pandering. I remember somebody saying something about the Avengers: Age of Ultron pandering to China. I
should have put money on it.
All right. Well, here's what I want to talk about specifically when it comes to this. The China Hollywood ban would be symbolic, not significant, because China is not the box office powerhouse that it once was. And for this, we go to our friend Alan Ng from over at Film Threat, who put together this fantastic list of the 10 biggest movies from the last year, what they did globally, and what came from China. Inside Out 2, 1.698 billion, 47 million of that came from China. It's 3% of the box office. Deadpool and Wolverine, 4%. Moana 2, 1%, and that movie made $1 billion. Despicable Me 4 made 6% from China. Wicked, 0% from China. Mufasa, 2%. Dune Part 2, 5%. Now, the one anomaly here, Godzilla versus Kong, 23%. That one, okay.
Let's go,
China
King of the
liked that
Monsters.
one. Yeah.
Who doesn't like kaiju?
Yeah, Kung Fu Panda 4 got 10%. That's not, that's fine too, but it was about Kung Fu. We get it. And Sonic the Hedgehog 3, 1%. Guys, China is not the box office powerhouse that people thought it was. I mean, it used to be. you know, when Endgame came out, I know China was a big part of that, but China is not relevant anymore for box office numbers. I think that when you're looking at 1, 2, 3% of a here's the other figure actually in this that I wanted to point out. I forgot about that. So the combined global box office was 8.86 billion last year. Now, the combined China earnings were 429 million. That's 5% of the global box office take. The studios only take home $107.3 million of that 429 million because China takes most of the money. So that's
Are you serious?
Yes, and that's $107 million split between Disney, Universal, WBD, and Paramount. They're making nothing from these people now.
What I like about this, though, is because this has been so public, is that we may now get movies that have actually got state actors as the villains again.
Yep.
It's like you remember in the 80s that it was all the Russians, and then we've always had the Germans, usually played by the English, but then you've got breakaway radicals who steal like state nukes and things like that
from the country of totally not Chechnya.
Right. And so now maybe we can have the Chinese as the villains and it'll be okay. I would like to have some of that kind of, testosterone fueled action movies that have got actual nation states at war. Let's fight those things in the movies, not in reality.
Yeah.
While we're making a propaganda point.
Captain America: Brave New World, when all of a sudden we're feuding with Japan of all countries over the adamantium. Like, come on, guys, that was clearly supposed to be China. Trish, did you see all this stuff about the Chinese box office?
I heard a little bit of it. I don't really have okay, you know what I mean? I'm not really the best person to go to for this stuff, but
it's just so funny to me that they pandered and pandered and pandered and debased themselves to such an extent, and it's all going to amount for nothing. Go ahead, Kev.
I was going to say, we know why they did it.
Of course.
Can't help themselves. And the useful idiots aren't so useful anymore. So, you reap what you sow.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Iron Man 3 is because of China.
It's their fault.
With nerfing the Mandarin.
I do sort of wonder, like, American movies were so very popular. And, I'm happy for a country to have its own film industry and tell their own stories. And, that they're popular at home is great. And then when they break out into an international audience, that's wonderful too. Like that Jet Li movie Hero. I loved that. But the fact that American movies were so big there for a while and then that evaporated, either the Chinese public just decided we're sick of American movies, we're not going to go see them anymore, or they were told by the Chinese government it's not really okay to see these anymore. And there's a third possibility that somebody was buying up blocks of seats for transfers for propaganda purposes.
That's also true. But now here's the other thing. Like, now we know China takes a grotesque percentage of the box office, for those movies to air there. But with their own movies, they take all of the box office because the theaters are, everything is run by the state. So, it's behooved them to do this. And but now could you imagine like a Rocky IV today? I think on Pro Stream we were talking about that. Like there could never be another Rocky IV.
With a giant Swede playing a giant roided up Russian.
Yeah. and the American going to Russia and then winning over the hearts and minds of the Russian people.
But that I'm so glad you brought up Rocky IV, because that was actually the point I was about to make, is that's part of what made Rocky IV so fun. We didn't see that movie and then all of a sudden we're like, yeah, we need to hate the Russians now and make fun of them. It was like, no, it was awesome. It was America versus Russia. Let's just have some fun to actually fight it out in the movies as opposed to in the trenches. Like, have a sense of humor.
Did the Russian government ever actually like freak out about Rocky IV the way they probably would today.
I don't think
that movie
so.
was made.
In fact, I think they even recreated their own versions of Rocky and Rambo. I know for a fact they had a domestic version of Rambo.
And honestly, I doubt if Russia would freak out even if they did today. It's going to be somebody like the Chinese who.
Well, yeah, no, the Chinese would have an absolute conniption over it. Like, if you made Rocky IV in China, like, I think that would start World War III. Like, he got up in arms because people compared him to Winnie the Pooh, and Winnie the Pooh was banned from the country for forever. I mean, the man objectively looks like Winnie the Pooh.
Rocky 7 coming to a theater near you.
I got to imagine that Putin would be just overjoyed to be depicted as a Bond villain. I mean, that's the life he lives, anyways.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's killing people. He kills people like they're Batman 66 villains. Use the poison umbrella. Make sure you use the purple smoke only.
Assemble now and intertwine. Neatly wrap these guests of mine.
Isn't there a way we can make this assassination more expensive?
You know he has a pit of sharks somewhere.
With lasers on their head.
Yeah.
He's got a mansion built over a mountaintop in Sochi.
He has an actual Scrooge McDuck money bin built into that mountain. Oh.
What?
Oh my gosh. Now, by the way, you bring up Batman 66, and I feel now I have to share my favorite clip from Batman 66. It's literally one of my favorite Joker moments of all time. It's just, and this is a comparison they did when the Blu-ray came out, but this is one of my favorite Joker scenes.
We're on to your tricks, Joker. You might as well. Settle now and intertwine and neatly wrap these guests of mine. And no more will they jeer and scoff or cut their circulation off. Oh, if they do not see the joke, put in the ropes and let them choke. Both of this. It's like being caught in a barrel of snakes. Well, now I must say this is an expected pleasure. You may have won the first round, Joker, but we don't give up.
That is quintessential Joker stuff right there. Cesar Romero does not get enough credit because he never killed anyone.
He doesn't get enough credit because he never shaved.
Oh yeah, that too. And let me tell you something. When you turn up the when you turn up the quality on that, like they did on the Blu-ray, you can really see that mustache. Cesar Romero's mustache was kind of like Zack's finger on Power Rangers, where like you didn't see it until somebody pointed it out to you.
I was hoping you were going to say he had 9 mustaches.
that was the thing. He kept shaving them, Lauren, but there was always another one underneath.
Yeah, they have this problem on Magnum PI too.
All right. Let's go to super chats, and then we have some Marvel stuff coming up. Trisha's like, oh yay, Marvel, I could do that. Oh my goodness.
Hopefully.
Tyler Galasinski for $4.99 says waiting for Gears of War or BioShock to get the movie experience.
Ew. No BioShock, please. Keep Hollywood as far away from that. Put Hollywood on its own abandoned island and keep those directors away from BioShock. Please, God.
It's your Stardew Valley movie. No.
Tyler Galasinski for $9.99. Here we go. Praise be Mistress Trish is here, and thank you, Mistress, for allowing Dobby to defend his 6-man tag belts. Watched AEW today, and I love Marvin doing Dobby.
I like calling him Dobson. I think I'm going to keep that.
Yeah, Dobson's pretty cool.
Dobson, the house elf.
We got Dobson. We got Dobson here.
That black bear for $10 says they were supposed to use a real bear and Revenant, but Kevin Apollo kept killing it.
That black bear.
That black bear. Liquid Fox, member for 6 months, says Marv, Kev, Trish, Nolan, Martin, and Lauren, thank you all for making my Thursday work night great. You guys are awesome. Thank you. You are awesome, Liquid Fox, our north of the border friend. Thank you very much. Regina Sharp for $5 says, I want a Mario prequel where they have to fix the sewer plumbing. It's Mario, but it's just the plumbing.
I'd watch it.
I'd watch that too. JPS for $2 says, I acknowledge Erdnot Rex Apollo. Oh, here we go. All B booty bees and big bees. Every time.
You have to look every time. It's the gimmick now. You have to look.
Yeah. Daredevil Born Again is actually a good show. I mean, look, there's a good show hidden in there somewhere. It just takes them a really long time to find it. XJ Cherokee Bear for $2.50 says, anyone saw Not Just a Goof? No, but I want to. You sent that twice.
Same here.
XJ Cherokee Bear. I really, really want to see Not Just a Goof.
Is that like about Max's son or something?
No, it's a documentary about the making of a Goofy movie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It's on Disney Plus. I'll have to check that out, and I'll try to report on it too if you see it.
Yeah, it's on my list of things that I have to watch coming up because a Goofy movie is one of my favorite Disney movies. It is. I mean, it's just a quintessential film. The songs are on point, and I love that it was a continuation of Goof Troop. But if you had never watched Goof Troop, you were fine. Like
absolutely,
Troop,
I never.
I would say in Goof Troop, Max and PJ are in what, middle school, elementary school, Kev?
I think so, yeah.
But yeah, and then we get them in high school age, when it comes to a Goofy movie. And, it's so funny. Jason Marsden actually sang Open Road with Bill Farmer at a convention a couple of years ago because he was like, I could have sang it in the movie. But they didn't let me. They got another singing voice. I forget who it was, but he wanted to prove that he could do it, and they actually did it. Bill Farmer's a great guy.
Awesome.
I love that he has a Mickey Mouse phone, and then they don't pick up Mickey Mouse when he's hitchhiking.
Yes. I also love those nuns that are just everywhere that they go. And what's even greater? Disney has really embraced a Goofy movie lately because most of their animatronics now look like Lester's Possum Park.
Thank you. I love that scene.
Chef Eddie says we need a Mario Kart movie with Vin Diesel. Oh my gosh.
No.
Mario going on and on about family.
Yeah.
No. Let Vin Diesel make the Excite Bike movie.
Okay, that could work.
XJ Cherokee Bear for $2.50 says still sings that JDF has gone. I mean, Jason David Frank. Yes, that does sting. I cannot believe he's gone still. I had the pleasure of meeting Jason David Frank at a convention one time, and he was the nicest, most gracious human being I've ever met. I also met Walter Jones, and I've met Karen Ashley, who played Aisha, and they were all just the nicest, most down to earth, humble people. I had a long conversation with Walter Jones at a convention one time, and he's just a really cool guy. John Williams for $4.99. Controversial take: the Dragon Shield looked better on Zack.
Ooh.
It did. That's not a controversial take, John Williams. I'm with you on that one, my friend. All right, we'll get to the rest of the super chats in a bit. For now, we got to get to our next story. It comes out of our friends at Marvel. Haley Atwell is reportedly returning to the MCU in Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars, according to a Hollywood lawyer. This is the last thing we needed. Marvel Studios may have been tight-lipped about its upcoming Avengers lineup, but a recent Hollywood Reporter profile may have just leaked a major casting surprise. Buried in the outlet's Power Lawyers 2025 list, a roundup of the 100 most influential attorneys in entertainment, comes a quiet but significant confirmation. Haley Atwell is returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe for Avengers 5 and 6. The reveal comes via Julian Zafin, a partner at powerhouse firm Zifrin Brittingham and a long-standing deal-maker for major Hollywood players like Dick Wolf, Eddie Murphy, and Gareth Edwards. In his profile, Zafin is credited with securing a number of recent high-profile contracts, including Atwell's deal to appear in Avengers 5 and 6. This is the first public indication that Atwell will be returning to the MCU in any capacity, let alone for 2 back-to-back Avengers blockbusters. Guys, here's the thing. If we were getting Agent Carter, I don't think I'd be upset. But we're not getting Agent Carter. We're getting this. We're going to continue to get this abomination. Captain Carter. Trish, have you seen any of Captain Carter?
No, you mean Agent Carter?
Well, yeah.
Isn't that
Did
a
you watch
show?
Agent? Well,
I
Agent
didn't
Carter
watch
was the
Agent
show,
Carter.
but okay, yeah. I liked Agent Carter. I thought it was.
I heard it was
a fun
good.
show. Yeah, it was fine, and she's a good actress. But when they made her into Captain Carter, and they based 3 seasons of that What If show around her, and it's basically just what if Steve Rogers? No. What if just no Steve Rogers and Haley Atwell becomes Captain America, and she's Captain Britain basically, but they call her Captain Carter. They put her in Doctor Strange mom. I was cool with it. I was like, okay, we got it out of her. That was cool. We saw her in live action. We got it out of our system. If she's back for 2 Avengers movies, we are moving in the wrong direction because there's nothing. The only thing that screams MCU more than Captain Carter is like, what do you call it? Brie Larson. Brie Larson, Captain Marvel. It could be like the MCU. Flag essentially is just having her face on it. Kev, what do you think? More Captain Carter?
I mean, I can't miss you if you don't go away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would be silly for her not to be in it, given that they're pulling everybody and their mother into the movie. So I don't really care. I don't care. Not even a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Martin Stone, what do you think about this? The idea that she could be coming back.
I think they could do it in a lot of more interesting ways. Like, for instance, you got Steve Rogers who went back in time and got to live his life with Peggy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to not deal with that version of Steve and Peggy kind of messes up. Like you give them a happy ending and then you ignore it. That doesn't make any sense. That's not good thematic storytelling. So if what we get is old Steve and old Peggy, being guides for the Avengers, that could be kind of interesting.
I'd be cool with that. But modern Marvel, I don't think they're capable of that.
That's probably correct. Yeah.
It's just
Rising to the top, push it to the edge, give it all you got, barely break a sweat, strong woman, strong.
There's no amount of money that Marvel can lose for them to actually learn this lesson.
It's not about money. It's about sending a message.
There you go, Trish. You finally got it in.
Yeah, you did.
Mm-hmm. Lauren Connor, your opinion on Captain Carter?
I checked out of Marvel a long time ago. I don't care. I'm not interested.
I don't blame you. Nolan, anything to add on this one?
Not really. How many fake Captain Americas can we have in the span of 5 years? My God.
Ugh, my goodness. Yeah, I know. Everybody but Steve Rogers gets to be Captain America now. Everybody.
Or Bucky.
Yeah. Bucky's the only one that doesn't get to inherit the mantle, ever.
What do you mean only Steve Rogers?
Speaking of Bucky, Thunderbolts is not looking like it's going to have a fun time at the box office. Grim opening weekend productions as Marvel's box office woes continue. We are looking at a opening domestic weekend between $65 and $85 million, which is a modest debut for a film that has a reported $200 million budget.
Grim.
That looks like a remake of Terminator 2. That shot of Bucky there.
Yeah, it does. No, it is grim though because it had a $200 million budget. Deadpool and Wolverine opened to $211 million. Captain America: Brave New World opened to $88 million.
How much? Yeah, but Captain America: Brave New World cost a lot more.
It did cost. It cost about $100 million more. But if you look at it, so let's say $200 million plus
I'm not saying
probably
it's good. I'm just saying I think like Captain America: Brave New World is going to wind up being worse if these numbers hold.
You see probably another 150 for media and marketing, so that brings us to about 350 million, and then you factor in the theater cuts of all of the tickets, and this is a movie that has to now gross $700 million to break even.
It's just the way with Marvel now. It becomes so unbelievably bloated, and the returns are diminishing, and I also feel like they're going to look at it as reflecting on the wrong things, because I feel like that's just what we do now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a little resentful that we finally gave Bucky something to do and we're doing it now. And it's like, You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. I agree. We gave Bucky a team, but that team is probably going to be led by Black Widow, or not Black Widow. And I like Yelena. I thought Yelena was actually one of the few decent things they added to the MCU in the last couple phases. I think she's charming.
I liked her on the Black Widow movie.
Yeah, I think she's charming. I think she's fun. I like Red Guardian, as long as they don't overuse him. They did a really stupid episode of What If that was Bucky and Red Guardian as like a buddy cop movie, and it was just dumb.
You mean what Falcon and Winter Soldier should have been?
Yeah.
So
well, that was what we were promised, a buddy cop movie with Falcon and Winter Soldier, and we got a lesson on race politics.
Because that's what Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie wanted when they worked together. That was what they wanted to do. They said it. They wanted it to be like 48 hours.
So I think on the Thunderbolts previews, they look like Bucky's the one assembling the team, right?
No, it looked like Florence Pugh was assembling the team. Bucky is I think Bucky is like an outside operator at first.
No, I know what Martin's talking about. Because I saw something that made it look like it was Bucky too, so who knows?
No, well, in the first trailer, Bucky is like they're all driving in the car, and then they see Bucky on the road, and he blows the car up.
I think it might be that at some point Bucky's gonna have to raise their morale or something, because there was a very much we're gonna do this, you know what I mean? It had that vibe to it.
Yeah, the original trailer, they all get brought together, but they don't know who pulled them together, and then it looks like Bucky is essentially the chaperone.
I gotta tell you, the last trailer that I saw for this movie, like the Super Bowl trailer, I was like, you know what? It doesn't look too bad.
I still don't think it looks like it's bad. I'm not saying it's going to be blowing me away or anything. I don't think it looks that bad, especially compared to what we've been getting. I think it's fine. I think it looks fine. I think the numbers are fine. Everything's fine, which for them lately is maybe aiming for the sky.
But Marvel has bloated these budgets, and Disney has bloated these budgets to the point where just fine doesn't cut it anymore.
And that's a whole other, part of it.
Especially for an IP that just is not well known. Thunderbolts is not a well known IP. Then again, Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't either, and everybody loved that. So,
but Thunderbolts was a very popular IP when it dropped in the late 90s up till probably the mid 2000s. The problem is you didn't give anybody anything that resembles the title. You introduced Zemo and made Zemo a big part of the MCU, sort of ish. This is his team. Where's Baron Zemo?
Yeah. I was shocked that Zemo was not in this.
It looked like you were gonna build the team around Ross. Where's Ross? Now, granted, yes, they rewrote this movie 5 times. At least. And if you believe what David, what's his name, David Herbert was saying, they were actually working without a script. But they were getting the script the day they were filming, and then still had to go back and reshoot it again. So, who only knows what this was supposed to actually be? But it's really these movies aren't doable because Marvel can't get out of its own way. There is no plan. It shows. They keep trying to do the woke nonsense, and then someone goes, "Uh-oh, this is going to be a dud." Then they got to spend a ton of money to fix it as best they can, but still can't deliver the quality it needs for it to capture that old magic. And then these movies are now opening where they used to, at least where they used to, and not the super bloated, everybody's super excited about going to these movies thing. So they're behaving, or rather they're performing accordingly, but they can never be successful because they've just been spending years burning money.
Yep. Lauren, I understand you do have to leave us, so I wanted to give you a quick outro there. So tell fine folks where they can find more about you and everything that you're up to.
You can find me here on Thursdays. I'm on WDW Pro's channel quite frequently. I'm on the Genre Guys with Lou Wasserman's Ghost at the Hangry Table. You can find me on X at Lauren Connor and on YouTube at Lauren Connor 9030.
What are you guys reading over there on Lauren Connor 9030?
We've been doing X-Wing Rogue Squadron, the first book.
Fantastic. Awesome, guys. Go over there. Let Lauren read you the classic Star Wars stories and bring you to a galaxy far, far away.
By the way, since I gotten you onto it, tell them about the Revenge of the Sith annotated edition coming out. 'Cause I think that is going to be pretty special for people.
There is an annotated version of Revenge of the Sith by Matthew Stover, the novelization coming out. It's gonna have the footnotes. It's gonna have like little notes from him. It's a bound book. It's got this is how it feels to be Anakin Skywalker forever written on the pages. It looks so cool. And this is, guys, my favorite book of all time. It is the book that I'm reading to you guys as a member exclusive perk here on the channel, which I have to do another chapter of that very soon. It's probably it's not just my favorite Star Wars book. It's my favorite book. So, yeah, I'm going to definitely be picking that up. All right, Lauren, my friend, thank you for being here. We love having you here, and we'll hope to see you next week.
We love you, Lauren.
See you all soon.
See. All right, guys. Is there anything you think they could do to turn Marvel around? Like, is the X-Men enough if they nail it?
They need to take a break. That's what they've needed to do since 2019. And part of the reason why all of this is like whatever is because the shows never should have happened. As it was, There's a lot of movies, and then they went piling on all these shows, and no one cares. And they were all just like these weird sort of backdoor pilots for either other characters or other versions of characters that we already equate with somebody else. And it's like, no one cared. No one cared. It was like, after all of those movies, everyone needed a nap. And instead, it's like getting yanked along. Like, nope, you just got to go one more ride, to use a theme park, since people around here like theme parks. It's just like, that's the only thing they can do. And like, I look at the lineup for the Avengers movie. It's clear they're trying to recapture Infinity War magic.
Yeah.
They're not going to recapture Infinity War magic because look at everything that's come before it. It's not going to, and then like, I'm sorry, you know when there's like an example for you for something, it's like your go-to, my Namor, like that's my thing. That, like
Namor.
That guy is in it. I mean, I'm glad the actor, is getting paid or whatever, but what? I saw that and I went,
Do you think he did any sit-ups this
not
time?
denying him food, Kevin. It's like, I just look at it and I go like, this guy's in it. What is there to get excited about?
And I get why they'd want to bring back the 90s X-Men characters or actors, but the better long-term play was to bring back McAvoy and Fassbender.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so too.
Well, they're not done, are they?
No, they're done, I think.
No, I mean, I didn't elaborate. In my head, I elaborated. Announcing people.
Oh, no, apparently not. Robert Downey Jr. hinted that they're not done. So,
and I still think they should bring back Taylor Kitsch, but in a character that's not Gambit, just to mess with people.
Yes,
that'd be funny. That would be funny. I don't think there's anything they can do at this point. Bringing back Robert Downey Jr. Look, Spider-Man movies will always make money.
Yep.
Deadpool will always make money. Well. Well, no, I don't think that's right. People don't care about that when it comes to Deadpool. I don't think.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
I don't. There has been no movement on that Ryan Reynolds, Baldoni, Blake Lively situation in the last couple weeks.
It's got a while to go. Although
I know, but
she did get accused of sexually harassing somebody on a set.
There was some news this week. You're not in that sphere, so you don't see the.
I've been trying to because I've been reporting on it, so I've been trying to keep up with it, but I guess I missed that one.
Henry Golding, who I think was in that Simple. I always want to say Simple Plan, like the band. Simple Favor. Is that what it's called? I think he's in that.
Another Simple Favor. Yeah.
Well, I think the first one, because they're talking about the first one. I think he plays Blake's husband in it, if I understood what I heard correctly. And I guess there's like a scene where she grabs him in a specific region, and that wasn't in the script, and she just kind of ad-libbed it, and it was.
Could you imagine a male actor just being like, I know it doesn't call for it in this scene, but honk honk.
And then also there was a whole thing where she tried to get good PR and went to a donut shop and then like had no hairnet on, and it was like it was a whole thing. And and I'm like, I don't know what the donut shop was thinking, being like, yes, Blake Lively, please do your PR tour here. Like it's gonna help us
Blake
out.
is fake.
I hope it's the same donut shop of Ariana Grande fame.
I don't think Ariana Grande has eaten a donut in quite a while by the looks of her.
And Taylor,
The donut hole, perhaps.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Taylor Kitsch because we just said Taylor Kitsch. Taylor Swift and her, I guess Taylor Swift was like, I think I need some space from you because she was dragging her into all this, and I guess they like made up or something. So there's that too.
I know
Yes,
we live
so.
we live for this stuff. All right. Where do we want to go next?
Listen, you guys have your Power Rangers. I have my Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. We all
I
have
know
our
you do.
things, okay?
I know you do.
Go, Blake Lively, go.
Away.
All right. So, you know,
Oh, God. No more. Come on.
So sick of looking at her.
We've just
She
got a
won't go
little
away.
We've got a little more to go.
And you got something to say about me and Blake Lively? Come on.
Disney's Snow White production pollution has exceeded that of Fast and the Furious as company continues to lecture the world on climate. So, as if things couldn't get worse for this stupid movie, a new report revealed that the production left behind a massive carbon footprint larger than some of Hollywood's most explosive action films. According to The Guardian, the scale of the Snow White production's pollution outpaced Fast and the Furious.
How?
How? So it didn't just crash at the box office, it may have helped crash the environment.
What do they have snow in the name?
You're looking at this all wrong. They're feeding trees. Trees eat carbon dioxide.
Right. That's true. The report, which analyzed over 250 Disney productions in the UK since 2019, found that Snow White and the Little Mermaid were the two most polluting films Disney has made in that region since environmental reporting became mandatory.
Did they make the dirty hippie shower? Is that what the problem was?
That's probably it. Snow White generated 3,153 tons of CO2 equivalent. That's 62% higher than the 2,600 benchmark typically allowed for large-scale productions. For comparison, The Little Mermaid was even worse at 5,127 tons. Together, the pollution from Snow White and The Little Mermaid surpassed the annual carbon output of Birmingham and Luton airports. Individually, each movie created more pollution than London's O2 Arena and Blackpool Pleasure Beach. That's not just excessive, it's grotesque. But the really grotesque thing is Disney has positioned itself as a leader in corporate environmental responsibility for years. They've published glossy ESG reports, made bold net zero carbon pledges, and love to talk about sustainability at events like D23 and shareholder meetings. Now, their green commitments on paper are net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2030, zero waste to landfill by 2030, 100% renewable electricity by 2030, reduce emissions from film and TV productions globally. Great job on that one, Bob. Green practices like LED lighting, biodiesel generators, and digital paperwork. But the kicker here is that despite all that, Snow White and the Little Mermaid polluted the environment.
Bad guys who like to loot and plunder.
Seriously, Bob Iger has become a Captain Planet villain.
The power is yours.
I think the only way they can undo this is to drain the rivers of America and put a bunch of cars there. I think that will fix everything.
Yep. It's just this, it never ends with this company. Like they try to put this, like they cannot get a win. They try to put this squeaky clean image forward, and then you find out that they're like killing puppies somewhere. It's absolutely insane. So not only that but Snow White has bombed to such an extent that the entire concept of live action Disney remakes is on the chopping block. Disney has apparently pulled the plug on the live action Tangled remake in the wake of Snow White's disastrous box office run. Now, nothing was officially announced as far as casting or anything for this. There is a there's a thing going around that Cynthia Erivo was supposed to play Rapunzel, but that is not true, guys. That is a joke that was made that people took seriously.
I was about to make it the same joke, so
it's amazing that everyone comes up with that exact same joke. But yeah, the decision confirmed to the Hollywood Reporter by multiple sources close to the studio signals internal growing concern over the viability of Disney's remake first theatrical strategy. So the live-action Tangled was in active development with The Greatest Showman's Michael Gracie set to direct, and a screenplay from Jennifer Caton Robinson from Thor: Love and Thunder and Do Revenge. Gracie's involvement had generated some enthusiasm online, especially among fans of Tangled's musical flair, but Disney has reportedly paused the project indefinitely in the wake of Snow White's failure. While the official language for the studio remains vague, there are many who believe this isn't a creative delay. It's a strategic retreat from, live-action remakes in total. Do we think they actually learned a lesson here?
No.
Money. And they won't learn the lesson because in a few months here, we're going to get that Lilo and Stitch remake that's going to make like $1 billion or $2. And they're going to go hi-ho, away we go to even more live-action remakes.
Yeah. Well,
Disney does this sometimes. A movie they think is going to be big will crash, and then they cancel a couple other things. I will, for instance, never forgive Brad Bird, no matter how many great movies he makes. He made Tomorrowland, and that failing means I lost getting to see Tron 3.
But now you get to see Tron Ares.
Yeah, we'll see.
I
have hope.
What did you think of that trailer? Because I was like, well, first of all, I'm like, wait, so is Tron actually in this? Because if Tron is not in this, I'm out.
Yeah, I do want to know who fights for the users in this one.
Yes, like just make a digital Bruce Boxleiter and have him voice it. Like I'm tired of Tron without Tron.
Mm-hmm.
They did it in the last movie. Obviously, he was there, but he was a villain. And then they had the cartoon show that they did. They didn't have Tron in that either, I don't think. So,
well, he kind of was. He was like the Obi-Wan for the character in that one. Bruce Boxleitner appeared a couple of times in that series.
Okay, it's I don't know. Seeing the light cycles in the real world, I was like, I don't know. This isn't what I want to see.
I do like that they're playing into that. So Daft Punk did such a good job with Tron Legacy's soundtrack.
Yes.
That they're playing into that with Nine Inch Nails. But that's such a different thing. The Daft Punk soundtrack was practically another character in Tron Legacy. I hope Nine Inch Nails can do as well.
Well, Trent Reznor's been pretty successful in scoring movies, so I mean,
yeah.
I've never seen Tron movies, so I don't know about like what he does in comparison to the movie, but I feel like he would have a grasp on how to do it,
If you, I think you would particularly dig a scene in Tron Legacy where Daft Punk, like their soundtrack it's up to 11. It's this club scene, and Michael Sheen is playing David Bowie, basically.
Oh, Michael Sheen and David Bowie. That does sound good.
I do love Michael Sheen. All right. So moving along here, guys, we'll get to super chats just in a minute, but some Nintendo news. So Nintendo boss responds to $80 Mario Kart price tag with variable pricing philosophy.
You're already not buying it, so whatever.
Yeah. So last week's reveal of Mario Kart World as an $80 digital title for the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2 has sparked heated discussions along the gaming community, coming out at $10 more than the already increasing $70 pricing standard. Many fans felt that the expressed sticker shock at Nintendo, especially when paired with Switch's $49.99 retail price. Now, Nintendo of America president Doug Bowser, yes, that's really his name, get it out of your system, has weighed in. When they hired him, man, I thought that was the funniest thing when they hired him. Like, I was like, okay, if it was between him and a guy who wasn't named Bowser and they were like equal, they're going to give it to the guy named Bowser because it's just great PR optics. When they announced it, they did a whole thing where they had like him and Bowser in a video together. But so according to Bowser, Nintendo isn't, I never get used to saying that, isn't establishing a new universal baseline, but instead they are embracing what he called variable pricing. We'll look at each game, really look at the development that's gone into the game, the breadth and depth of the gameplay, the durability over time, and the repeatability of the gameplay experiences. Those are all factors. So I think you can anticipate that there will be variable pricing, and we haven't set a benchmark. So in other words, not every Nintendo game will be $80, but some will. Go ahead, Kev. What were you going to say?
The Nintendo games that you want will be $70.
Or 80.
80, yeah, 80. So, I remember someone had pointed out that Donkey Kong Country was $80. So yes. Because I have a problem, scoured the internet until I could find old Toys R Us circulars. And yes, Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong Country 2 were both $79.48.
Yeah, that's the thing, guys. Variable pricing in video games is not new. It is from in the 80s and 90s. A little history lesson here. Game prices varied wildly. You could pay $39.99 for one title, and as Kev just said, $79.99 or more for another. Pricing was based on factors like cartridge size, special chips like the Super FX chip in Star Fox, and the popularity of the IP. So Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger launched at premium prices. Now, retailers and publishers had far more flexibility back then, and gamers generally accepted the differences. Now, in the 2000s and early 2010s, we're talking about PS2, Xbox 360, Wii era, the industry shifted towards standardized pricing to streamline marketing and sales.
It was great.
It was awesome. Most major console releases were priced at $49.99 and eventually $59.99 when the HD era started. The move was driven by retail simplicity, consumer expectations, and a broad casual audience familiar with uniform pricing and, for movies and music. So modern era, PS4, PS5, Switch, etc. Uniformity became the default, and $59.99 was considered standard. Only recently have publishers returned to the variable pricing. As you mentioned before, Tears of the Kingdom, Legend of Zelda, came out at $69.99, and PlayStation first-party games like Demon's Souls and Spider-Man 2 were also priced at $69.99. However, indie titles and AA to AAA releases AA releases are priced between $30 and $50. So, guys, this is not new. This is not a new thing. We're just returning to the Wild West, essentially.
But here's the problem: these games aren't good. You're smashing people for 70, 80, 90 bucks. And these aren't good games. I haven't picked up a game, I don't know, sorry. Aside from Hogwarts Legacy, I have not purchased a game in almost 4 years that I felt compelled to finish or that I could say even really enjoyed. Maybe Final Fantasy, fine. Everything else has either been a dud or super duper underwhelming. And I don't understand. So I just don't understand why we're paying all this money. First of all, for games that aren't even finished, right? I'm sick and tired of throwing in a PlayStation game or an Xbox game that needs 72 hours of load time before I can play it. And then it's buggy and glitchy, and then I got to download another 72-hour patch so that I can play the game. So you're not giving us finished content. You're not giving us DLC that's actually worth your while. Right? Because, fine, I'll give BioWare this. Mass Effect 2, especially Mass Effect 2, and the original Dragon Age. The DLC for those games was tremendous. You had hours upon hours of gameplay that actually touched the story. Now here's 2 characters who we didn't put in the game. Here's a bunch of crappy skins that you're never going to want to use, and maybe here's a story DLC. I didn't mind Kasumi and Zaid in Mass Effect 2 being DLC characters. I thought that was fun. Yeah.
By the way, I know Mass Effect 3 gets poo-pooed all the time because of the ending. I still maintain 90% of that game was good, and the DLC for that game was good too. The Leviathan and Citadel and Omega, like they were good story DLC, and they, like you said, hours upon hours of gameplay. Spider-Man 2 didn't even get a DLC. Spider-Man 1 had 4 of them. And
if we're indexing based on inflation, is $80 really that bad compared to the last generation's prices of 60, 70 bucks?
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible.
Now, Kevin's point about that these games aren't worth it because you don't care about finishing, that's a totally separate point. But yeah, just money wise, it's not out of line with what we've been paying.
To your point, Martin, I think one reason why there's such backlash going on right now, aside of course from, the economic times we're living in right now, is we pretty much currently have hit a cap with our graphics department outside of the days, we truly get into like holograms from Star Wars. VR really ups its game. It used to be that, this thing was going to be crazy expensive, that new PlayStation or N64, but you were going to go from what little graphics bits on a screen, 16 bits, to use my nerd talk here, to Laura Croft with her boobs all over PlayStation. It was going to be groundbreaking. Nowadays, probably since the late stage 360, most games are not having an insane jump. You guys probably saw the memes going on with the PS5 Pro compared to the normal PS5, and they look like the same dang game. Right. Now, when we're changing it up again, and especially this isn't necessarily Nintendo's fault, the rest of the gaming sphere, a lot of times, it seems like the consumer is paying for the bloated budgets and teams of these games that are making these AAA titles that just seem unfinished, buggy. And if you do buy a DLC, it seems like you're getting just trying to buy up half the content that used to be in the games back on the PS2. So I think now the consumers are getting a little bit more picky on what they're buying, because if the Switch 2 looks a lot like the Switch 1, it's like, why would you're really literally going back to the 1980s discussion of when the Super Nintendo came out as a sequel to the original NES, of why would I buy that when I already have a Nintendo? I think the Switch 2 might be facing a similar scenario in a very different way.
But aren't we underestimating the artistry it takes for these visual artists in games to give every woman a chin like Bruce Campbell?
So Smash JT actually did a like an expose on that recently, and apparently like the main program that they use, the default for like a female character is that Sergeant Slaughter chin.
It's ugly.
Ugh.
Sweet baby.
You guys remember the 80s B-movie actor Robert Zadar?
Yes, big face.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Got a big face.
You just got so excited. Yes.
Because Martin talks about stuff that I feel like, Martin and Lauren talk about things that I'm like, someone else knows.
Oh my God, he does have a big face. This is who I'm looking at. Robert J. Zadar.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got a big
Samurai
face.
Cop fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were we saying about him, Martin?
Well, I was just saying, like, these women in games, they're the actresses who are the character models are fine-looking women, beautiful women, and then you actually get the character models, and they've got these strong jaws, like that border on Bruce Campbell or Zadar.
Bruce Campbell.
I think in the first Spider-Man game, Mary Jane looked fine. She was pretty. She wasn't the supermodel Mary Jane, but she was still a pretty girl. Spider-Man 2 came out, and I was like, am I looking at Rocky Dennis right now in Mask? Because that's literally what she looks like. I'm not even exaggerating.
I looked over, like, my eye just darted. I'm like, he's going to say it.
What would you say?
Baby boy. You can't say Rocky Dennis around him without him saying it.
But no, I mean, if we look at oh, good, I got a picture. Here, let me put that on the screen. If you look at these two side by side, Spider-Man 1 versus Spider-Man 2. I mean, they nerf her. I don't understand what happened in the.
Why is her mouth so small?
Her mouth is small. Her chin is big. It makes absolutely no sense. Here's another one. There are some angles in that game where you look at this character and you're just like, what the heck?
They gave her underbite chin.
And here's one. And like what Martin said was 100% true, because the actress who was the model for this was actually very pretty. And they just purposely do this.
Oh, yeah.
Is it that woman? Oh, you moved it. There was a picture of an actual woman a few rows down, and I'm wondering if it was her who was the model, because from that picture. Sure. I mean, she looked far prettier than what was on the screen for the video game.
Well, no, what we saw here was one of the Insomniac writers actually looks an awful lot like Mary Jane in that game. Yeah. And that's what this is. Gaming is now overrun by ugly, miserable female developers, and they want every character, instead of being aspirational, to be an ugly, miserable female.
Well,
if I can't have fun, you can't have fun.
Yeah. Comic books have had the same thing. Yeah. Like when Starfire's Daughter series came out.
Don't Call Me Starfire.
Yeah, it was a writer insert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's that bizarre, postmodern feminist thing where pretty is toxic. You're not allowed to have attractive women aren't allowed to exist.
Yep, pretty is toxic, which is why Barbie made $2 billion.
But hey, don't forget though, before Margot Robbie, there was Amy Schumer.
That's true.
Wait, Amy
it was
Schumer
supposed to be Amy Schumer?
No.
Oh,
that was one of the iterations, yeah.
Thank God that didn't happen.
You see, when we're saying about movies for audiences, and obviously that was a more female skewed audience, and Barbie's so beloved, so iconic, not in the way that people overuse it, literally iconic. You don't futz with Barbie's look. The look is like 90% of the point of Barbie. That would have done, I don't know what happened, why it changed and it was able to be Margot Robbie, but they should be thanking their lucky stars that it wound up being Margot Robbie, because that would have been an enormous bomb if it were Amy Schumer. Everyone would have known that's not Barbie.
If Barbie was ugly, no women would have gone to see that movie.
I don't know why I didn't put this together before, but Greta Gerwig was upset that the men's rights people were glomming on to Ken as an icon for them. So she was upset. And now she's going to ruin Aslan in Revenge.
That might actually be her revenge. That might literally be what it was. I'm going to go ruin something that they love now. Ugh.
I didn't see Barbie, but everything I've heard about it, people loved Ryan Gosling as Ken. And my answer to that is, well, first of all, you should be happy that people love something about your movie. But also, if you are the one who wrote him that way. Like I love when it's the one they don't want being popular is the one that's popular. But it's not my fault you wrote that person the best.
Like Joss Whedon and Spike.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like I didn't write him.
So what happened with Barbie was she tried to tell a ultra feminist like rah rally point, and she accidentally told the truth. She accidentally told a story about and not even the truth. She told a story about a world where a group of people are oppressed and they realize that they can be free and they rise up against their oppressors and then in the end are oppressed again. That's the Kens in that movie. They are ruled over by the Barbies. They go to the real world. They realize, oh wait, this doesn't have to be. They take over Barbie world to free themselves, and then are oppressed again by the end of the movie. And they're the bad guys.
It just reminds me of Alex P. Keaton not having supposed to have been popular, or Ron Swanson, and it's like the ones everybody likes, and it's like, never mind the fact that it's like, a gauge on maybe what the culture is at the time, and maybe you're skewed. That aside, you got great actors to do, like, the perfect people to do the part. You write them arguably the best in the entire show, and then you're mad that people like them the best, and it's just like, I don't understand. Like,
Trish, to your point, look at the Joker movie. That film was huge, and the director is pretty much like, ew. This was how toxic young males can be. I'm going to make a sequel and humiliate him. How did that turn out?
And it's like,
not well.
And it's just interesting to me that whatever the reason, if somebody's getting something and connecting to it in some way, I just feel like you should just be like thankful that what you did hit. You, as a creative, you did something that hit with people.
Not since Eric Bischoff booked the No Limit Soldiers versus the West Texas Rednecks has somebody been so wrong about who people were going to glom onto. Because Eric Bischoff booked a group of rappers against a country music group in the South and thought that the country music group was going to be the bad guys. And the crowd very quickly turned that. It is a classic case of what exactly the phenomenon that you're describing, Trish. It was, yeah, and it pissed her off. And people, the feminist fans of this movie were incensed when Ryan Gosling was nominated for an Oscar and Margot Robbie was not. Utterly incensed.
I mean, once you learn about how all of those award shows and nominations and wins work anyway, it's like the right person stumped to the right people to get Ryan Gosling a nomination. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it has nothing to do with anything.
He's an Oscar nominee, and she's just Barbie.
She's just Barbie.
I like Margot Robbie.
I like her too.
generally.
I have
like
no
her.
problem with her.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Let's see. John Williams, $1.99, checking in saying Saban only makes dirt cheap. Star Wars is far too expensive for him. Yes, no, he would. Well, we would get Star Wars, but it would be he'd take over Marvel and he'd make a Spider-Man movie using the Spider-Man Japanese show.
It would be Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation.
Yes, it would. That might have been a Saban show, actually, now that I think about it.
I'm assuming it had to be because it crossed over with Power Rangers.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, Next Mutation. That was yep, it was Saban.
That makes sense.
Yikes! 26 episodes, one season.
Okay, so here is Spider-Man as made by Saban.
Kevin.
That's not the part we need subtitled.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
ビルの谷間の暗闇にキラリと光る光の目
Okay, now I don't know why he has to be a motorcycle guy, but
Is this the best way to get around Tokyo?
you know what? In the beginning of this song, he's climbing walls, he's doing Spider-Man poses. It's pretty much Spider-Man, right? It's pretty much like just a Japanese version. Okay, hold on.
安らぎ捨ててすべてを捨てて悪を追って空かける
Okay, he's shooting webs. Still Spider-Man, right? Still seems like
100%.
Spider-Man to you, right? Okay, cool. Hold on.
Change the part off.
君はなぜ
I knew it was coming. I still love it.
戦い続けるのか命をかけて一筋に
That pizza place pays good money.
Yeah, for real.
無敵の男 Spider-Man
I love showing this to people because it's like, okay, yeah, okay. And then the Megazord shows up. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Ricky Murray for $5 says, did you know that Ninjor was voiced by Dudley Do-Right? Is that true? I mean, it makes sense.
What?
It sounds like him.
Ninjor!
Ninjor is here. It does sound like
voice,
Dudley Do-Right.
I wasn't drinking back here.
Ninjor is like, remember like in the beginning they were like, oh yeah, cool, we gotta call it Ninjor, and then by the end like he was just so annoying that like he's just starts showing up without them calling. Like in one of them he flies under that little cloud, he's like, did somebody forget to call me?
No, we didn't.
No, lose our this guy invented the power coins. We went on a mystical adventure to find him. Now we're dying for him to lose our phone numbers.
Hey,
Do those communicators
jar? It's been like 2 years.
Do those communicators have like a block function on them? Did they ever try that?
No,
The
they
power
do
center?
not. No, they do not. Because everyone started blocking Rocky during Rocky just wants to have fun, and Billy had to remove the function. But yeah, Ninja, he gets captured by Lord Zed, and they don't try to save him. He only gets out because Goldar and Rito drop the jar. And he teleports out and he's like, "Good news, everyone, I'm free." Oh, great. This guy
let you out.
Ruining our day. Go and Shogi, member for 7 months, says same thing with Splash Mountain. You give a wink and a nudge, maybe crack a blue joke to your friends, but none of it was supposed to be taken seriously. Absolutely. Jeremiah Hembry for $2 says VR Troopers is Metal Heroes in Japan. Okay, is that the Ryan Steele one or the Caitlin and JB one? Because they were two completely different shows. And John Williams has Strong Woman. Maravita for $5 says, and you get a roll, and you get a roll, and you get a roll.
It's
For
like
the love of all
Oprah.
that's holy,
And
more
you get
is
a roll.
not always better.
It's got to be like Oprah, and you get a roll, and you get a roll, and you get a roll.
Yep.
I feel you, Maravita.
It's not always better. Virginia Sharp for $5 says it's hilarious that all the Carter stuff is just to get in another Temu cap shield. Yeah, that is true. Chef Eddie for $5 says the Avengers movie is sounding more like a Ready Player One version of the MCU, just a collection of references. Yeah, that's actually a pretty apt description. Virginia Sharp for $10 says Marvel could do it, but they need to make the series and movies but not part of other movies. They have to acknowledge the rest of the universe, but not require the rest of it. That would be good, because I can't imagine being somebody who watched Brave New World who didn't watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Even watching the Marvels without having watched Ms. Marvel, you're probably just like, who is this girl? JPS for $2 says, no, what is causing the CO2 from Snow White is the smug. Yes, that's true. It's not the smog, folks. It's the smug. And then Virginia Sharp for $5 says Doug Bowser actually kidnapped Miyamoto, and he now has him in another castle while he raises prices. Somebody send a letter to Mario and Luigi. I'll do you one better. I'm gonna send Nolan and Jonas after him.
We're on it. Let's go.
Super Nerdio
Let's
brothers.
go.
Here's an interesting one. Universal is just not going to stop. Epic Universe just opened, and they have already announced plans to open a massive theme park in the United Kingdom with Jurassic Park and Shrek attractions. But that's not all. If you look over here, guys, this little area right here, I know it's hard to see on the small screen, but it looks to me like this right here is Hill Valley from Back to the Future. Because when you zoom in on it looks like this is the clock tower. And then this is some kind of 88 miles per hour Back to the Future roller coaster.
That's so cool.
Oh, that loop does look a little bit like the infinity sign.
Yeah. So the rumors that that's Back to the Future. I think Shrek is one of them. This is Jurassic Park, from what they're saying up here in the top. People are saying Bond might be actually in over here in the very top. Jaws, they're saying Illumination. And no Harry Potter, apparently.
Well, isn't there already a Harry Potter park in Scotland?
So that's the thing. It is not. It is not the. It's not like a theme park, but it's like the Harry Potter
studio tour, right?
Yeah, it's like the Harry Potter
Yeah.
experience. And I think Warner Brothers is not letting them build a Harry Potter theme park in the UK because of that. I mean, it would be completely different rights that Universal would have to buy to do Harry Potter in the UK, because they have
Harry
the
Potter
US.
people
the
would
US
want to do both.
Of course they would. But
so
it's Warner.
stupid.
It's the world's dumbest company on the planet, Warner Brothers.
Dumb.
I gotta say though, on smart moves though, if it possibly is like Jaws and Back to the Future, one criticism that Universal has had, myself included, was they haven't honored their legacy very well, aside from Steven Spielberg basically yelling at him, tell him, keep the ET ride, because Jaws went the way of the water. Did not mean to make that pun. But they lost so much of their heritage, so I think it'd be kind of cool to see them reimagine it away for an audience that might not have even got a chance for it for the first place. I think that's pretty cool.
I would love to still be able to go on like a janky Jaws ride all these years later.
Yeah.
Like I remember, I last time I rode Jaws was 1997. That was when I rode ET, and my mind was blown by it. Now I go on it, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is the worst thing of all time.
At least you didn't go on it when it first debuted, and like they were having issues with the pyrotechnics, and some of the heat would be like hitting the guests and stuff. Some of the pieces of the shark or the sparks or something. It was terrible.
You know, the thing is, they still make you give your name at the front, and then like they make you give the name, and they give you the little card, and you have to scan it for ET to say your name at the end. And I'm like, can we just not do this anymore? Because it makes the line longer. Like it's
so fun though.
I don't like. Thank you, Nolan, Kevin, Trish, Martin. Like at the
my kids love that ride.
It's one of the best things in Florida. It is
6-year-old loved
it
it so much that we went home and watched ET. And then when ET dies, she's crying, why did I want to watch this movie?
Oh, it's amazing. He gets better.
He does. And she was so happy when he gets better, and she's watched it several times since then. But they loved the movie they loved the ride so much that I got to share the movie with them.
It's such a cool. I love that ride. I remember being with my grandmother in line for it, and it was the ride at Universal back then.
Yeah.
Like it was the premier ride. It was the one that had the
Still
longest
is.
line. Yeah. Well, no, you walk onto it now, Nolan.
Well,
the only time you ever wait is when the
Me,
guy
it is.
taking the names is.
I have heard that the only reason it's still there is because Spielberg has told them, I'm not doing anything else with you guys if you get rid of
Yes,
the ride.
that's true. Actually, I just love that Steven Spielberg does the pre-show, and then ET goes, Steven Trouble.
And I'm just going to throw this out
into
there,
the
but
ride.
somebody needs to open up a Continental hotel so you can live John Wick for the weekend.
Oh my god, yes, please.
Keanu Reeves better show up. The money I'm
for
sure
real.
they'll charge.
For real. So the UK resort it's an hour out. So it's in what's the name of the town? It is in Bedfordshire, which I think is maybe pronounced Bedfordshire.
No, it's Bedfordshire.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's there.
He will
It's an
correct you.
It's
Sorry,
an hour.
You're watching.
Yeah, it's an hour outside London. It's going to have a resort with 500 rooms, and they think it's going to bring 50 billion pounds into the economy over a period of about 10 years. So it's also going to create like a buttload of jobs. But the really cool thing is, first of all, this is the first time Universal has ever built a theme park with no direct Disney competition. Because the parks that they have right now are, Orlando, Los Angeles, and Tokyo, all of which have a Disney competitor right there. This is the first time they're going to own the market, and the UK has theme parks, but nothing like Universal. I mean, it's going to be pretty awesome, especially if they bring like. Have you guys seen like the robot dragon in Epic Universe?
They've got a couple of them. They both look amazing.
Yeah, I'm talking about the one that walks.
Yeah, well, they've got two versions of it. One is Dart, and the other is one of Hiccup, not Hiccup, but the dragon's name. It's his kid. Toothless. Yeah, they're toothless kids. But yeah, they actually walk around. It's amazing.
Yep, and they are robots. So, like one of my friends was like, "No, that's got to be like somebody in a suit." I'm like, "No, that's actually a robot." But the really cool thing that I noticed was they have filed a trademark in the United Kingdom back in 2022 for Halloween Horror Nights. So it looks like they could be bringing HHN to the UK, and that is cool because Halloween Horror Nights is the friggin' best.
That's going to be interesting to me because that's a North American holiday. Like practically nobody else celebrates Halloween except Canada.
I think in the UK they've kind of like come to embrace it just because it's a pop culture thing at this point. But yeah, I don't think it's super big. But I mean, how they do, and there are a couple theme parks over there that do like Halloween events, but nothing on the level of HHN. It's gonna be big. It's gonna be huge.
The guy who took that photo did a very good job.
That would be me. Thank you very much.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
How is E.T. with modern names?
Okay, so I actually have a story about this. My mother-in-law has a name that is like not a normal like American name. And so, you know, my wife was telling me that when they were kids, they were driving on it. And all of a sudden it's, you know, I was like, talking to all the people like, thank you, Stephen, Robert, Guest.
They didn't even have him say friend, just guest.
Yep. Yeah.
Well,
so
my wife is my wife's name is not standard pronunciation. So it didn't get it quite right for her either.
Let me tell you something also. I waited my entire life to sit in the front row of ET. It just kind of never happened. One time I had the opportunity and I gave it up so my friend's girlfriend could sit up there because not for noble reasons. She's terrified of ET and didn't know that he was going to pop up. So I was like, I'll go in the second row to watch this happen. So we finally, my wife and I, one of the last times we were there, we rode ET and we were in the front and I'm like, oh my God, finally. Damn, ET didn't pop out of the basket.
That's karma for trying to scare your friend's girlfriend. That's what that was.
Yep. All right, what was that one? Anthony J for $5 says, speaking of Power Rangers, was anyone a fan of VR Troopers? Loved the long-term storytelling of the first season. Yep, absolutely. Anthony J was the long-term storytelling in VR Troopers was excellent with the Darkheart, the defending Darkheart storyline, with everything with Ryan Steele's father. It was really, really good. I liked that a lot. And they weren't afraid to, like, you know, have him continue to be missing. It was kind of a horrifying story, actually, the defending Darkheart story. So I was all about it. I thought it was, I even as a kid, I thought it was super cool. John Williams for $1.99 says Amy's Barbie was about her less pretty Barbie.
There's no less pretty Barbie. Girls want Barbie to be pretty.
Of course they do. Of course they do. And you know what? All those butt ugly, miserable game devs. You know what game they played when they were kids? Tomb Raider. They all loved it. Now they probably all want to make Lara Croft ugly. It almost happened.
Remember when they made, you know, Dumpy Barbie and Average Barbie, and they didn't sell?
I don't remember that at all.
I don't, but
Is that a thing that happened?
Yeah, that's the thing that happened. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
They made a fat bottomed Barbie, and she didn't move.
She didn't make the rock and roll go round.
Rock and roll go round. Beat me to it.
Well, Kevin and I were just talking the other day about the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, how that used to keep them afloat. And then all of a sudden they decided now it's just going to be fat girls. And everybody was like, no. And then you know, it finally hit the wall when I believe we have a clip of the person that they put in it.
I can't tell you how free I feel now that I've started identifying as a woman.
Oh goodness! Yeah,
Didn't Martha Stewart do one?
Did she?
I think
I
so.
really feel like
so,
that's
yeah.
in my head. I mean, Martha Stewart looks great for her age, but it's just funny.
Yes, we are willing to accept that some gentlemen who buy Sports Illustrated may be chubby chasers, but not those kind of chubbies.
Nope. Oh, here we go, guys. Get ready for this one.
That was layered.
All be booty bees and bacon with big bees for $5. I want Barbie sequel, but with Sydney Sweeney and must be rated R.
Probably be on cinema.
Rated X.
No, that picture is amazing.
That might be the best one ever. Like, I don't know if you could top that one.
I love
the clip.
That one's pretty cool. Oh my goodness! I love every minute. I'm so mad that he didn't answer any of us about coming on the show.
I think that was the answer.
Yeah. Artist formerly known as John Cusack, JDLLM says, just send Greta back to Sacramento with Brie Larson too. Yeah. All
Brie
about
Larson's
that.
been pretty quiet though lately, hasn't she?
Yes, because
like, I feel like she's just been chill.
She learned her lesson. So she did an interview a little while back, and the interviewer goes, well, I mean, don't you think that like the fandom at Marvel is just really toxic and that male fan base? And she was like, no. Like
You're not going to do this.
Yeah, like she literally said, "What do you expect me to say to that?" And then her publicist like jumped into the frame and like stopped the interview.
I think that's a fair answer from her. What do you expect me to say to that?
Was that her publicist?
Marvin, when you said
Nick.
Marvin, when you said she was being interviewed, I was so hoping it was going to be the variety guy and be like, "Is this the gayest movie you've ever
Would
done?"
you say that this is the gayest Captain Marvel you've ever done? No, they're all pretty gay. John Williams for $4.99 says, "Fun fact: Spider-Man was the first Sentai where they debuted a Megazord. I didn't know that. Huh? I just assumed that if you live in Japan, you get a giant fighting robot. So, Andre Adams for $19.99 says, "You made a believer out of me, Marv. I now believe that Shelton Benjamin is secretly Panthro in human face, living amongst us mere mortals." Because I referred to him as Man Cat on something. How were you not there when I did it? Because that was a Kevin Apolloism. Kevin Apollo was the first one that said he looks like a cat. We were just like, and he's nimble. He jumps about like
he's very agile.
Yeah, always lands on his feet. Shelton Benjamin is a cat. I remember purr for me, Man Cat. BPE for $20 and no message. The old BPE special. Thank you very much, BPE. Yep. Miravita for $5 is not gonna lie. When I play a female character you can customize, she is never proportional to reality. My male gamer friends just lose it. You're doing things right, Miravita.
My Sims are always hot. I'm not even gonna lie.
Why wouldn't
like
they?
I ain't here for them realistic Sims.
Yeah.
Just like no.
You're not making it.
Girls.
You're not making a pear-shaped sim with acne. No, you're not. Like,
If the breast can be used as a flotation device, you know you're playing your game right.
John Williams 499 says, so DeMeo says, "I'll come on your show if you sign up for my OF," and that is a big NO there. Maybe Nolan will, but I don't think Kevin Apollo and I are going to do that. Yeah. All right, guys. You know what? I think that's about it. I had a couple more things, but I don't think they're going to be very engaging. So, thank you very much to everyone who tuned in tonight. Thank you to everyone who chatted, everyone who super chatted. Nolan Thunder, why don't you tell the fine folks about where they can find you and everything that you're up to?
All right. Well, if you don't see me on the evening news causing trouble, you can find me on my YouTube channel at Nolan Thunder. I do a series called Lost in Files where I dive into all sorts of video game, internet, and media mysteries. It's a mix of B-movie horror, comedy, and a deep dive into the unknown realms. So if you like that sort of thing, please check me out. I have cool 80s synthesizer music to boot, so check it out. Thank you.
Why would you be on the evening news causing trouble?
Have you met Nolan?
Sorry about that.
All right. Martin Stone.
That was my fault.
Martin Stone, why don't you find folks where they can find everything that you're up to?
Well, you can find me on That Park Place doing a member exclusive for a while show called The Lost Guys with Nolan Thunder, Trish, and Hangry Table. Tomorrow, we have an episode debuting that was a member request, Space Above and Beyond. And today, on T3PO, one of our older episodes debuted. If you like kaiju and you like gangsters, Japanese gangsters and hatchbacks, you are going to love Wolfman versus Godzilla.
That just sounds like a really uneven match.
It is.
Like, yeah, Godzilla wins.
Well, Wolfman is somehow, and we're not really sure how, blown up to Godzilla's size.
Oh, okay. So now it's an even fight. Godzilla still wins. He has nuclear.
He also changes color.
Okay.
So he's like an albino Wolfman when he's giant.
That makes sense. Trish, where can the folks find out more about everything you're up to?
I'm sorry, I'm distracted trying to put the Lost Guys link. I want to make sure I put the right one in the chat. They all know. I'm with two guys down here, there, everywhere. Like the Beatles song.
Kevin Apollo, anything you need to plug this week? You're muted.
I didn't do it.
The cat did it.
I've been watching her.
The cat did it one time. He was rolling into a joke. He was about to hit the punchline, and the cat ran across and muted him. It was the damnedest thing I'd ever seen in my life. Anyway, continue.
Oh well, let's see. We'll be steering the ship next week while
Yes.
you're away.
Right.
Yes, I will be. I will be yo-ho brothering on a cruise, and so Kevin Apollo will be hosting both shows next week. So let's just hope that there's something here when I get back.
Let's swear the whole time and go to 3 a.m. and talk about topics you can't talk about on YouTube.
Oh my goodness.
Will
All right,
we
guys.
discuss Sydney Sweeney and Bo DeMeo? Yes, we will.
Oh, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to come back and all my clips are going to be in different places, and I'm going to not be able to find them for 6 months. But thanks very much. We got one more super chat. The artist formerly known as John Cusack, JDLLM, says, guys, guess what? LK is from Sacramento, too. Okay.
I'm guessing this space is probably a mistake, unless that's an inside joke between them.
I don't know. It might be some kind of inside. Either that or he's just doxing LK. But no, I'm kidding. I know you're not doing that.
Sack joke.
All right. So you guys know everything from me. Just keep checking out the channels. I should have a new video dropping tomorrow morning. I just have to edit it. If it doesn't drop tomorrow morning, it'll drop over the weekend. Keep it right here to Tooney Town TV, and make sure you're checking out That Park Place every single day. The minimum of 6 articles per day on everything movies and TV and video games and theme parks. So from all of us here at the Tooney Town channels, I'm Marvin the Movie Monster. Get here!
Now, Betty the Platypus, feel the wrath of my thank you-inator!
Thank you, you piece of trash.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you! Oh, I suppose you want me to say thank you. But you know what? Saying thank you is like jobbing. Thank you! I got a little message. Thank you. Ooh, yeah!
Oh, thank you! Oh, thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you!
Thanks? For what?
Hi-ho from all of us here at Tooney Town. Thank you!
And viewers like you. Thank you.